Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody. Instead of playing the intro, we did Angel Boulevard. Tom Lavecchia is here. And Tom and I are going to do one-on-one. And then Marla is going to join us. She has some questions for him. And then maybe Lee Cole. I sent him the link, so we'll see. How is everyone tonight? Let me say a quick hello. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Heidi Black. Rara for president. Ooh, or mayor. Jane, Dave from Boston. Pearl, Layla, Midwest Mobsters. Stone Sailor. Hello. Frankie Calabria. Tommy Lucchese. Tina Orlando. Brian G. Tom, some people have left not so nice comments in here for you.
Yeah, Brian G's not a big fan.
Italian Stallion, Carol. Let me see. Let's say something. Oh, Carol, remember a few months ago I told you my wife was having the in vitro thing. We found out today we're twins. Oh,
big deal. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Brian. Excellent. That's great.
God bless.
Yes, God bless. And congratulations. Hey there, Real Deal. How are you? Italian Stallion, I said. Arlene, Bucky, Susie. Okay. Frankie Calabra, I said already. Bucky Palermo.
You want to hear something random, Angel? Actually?
Yes.
So for IVF, right, back in the day, let's say you wanted to donate your eggs. Let's say you're, I don't know, 30-year-old woman. You're like, you're not ready to have children. You're not with the right guy. You want to preserve your eggs. When you put them away, they would actually degrade. The technology is so good now. If you're, let's say, 25 years old, 30 years old, and you freeze your eggs and you thaw them out 100 years later, they're exactly the same way you were when you donated them. The technology is insane now for IVF. And God bless Brian G. I know you're not a big fan, but God bless to you. And that's a great thing happening for you.
No, really, it is very. Oh, that's great. Great twins. Wow. So everyone, before we get into it with Tom, so we have our date. I will Victoria will be having the baby. Get ready for this one on my brother Peter and my sister's birthday, November 9th.
Oh wow.
So my daughter will be having a baby on her aunt and uncle's birthday. So it's going to be in the morning, and we're not ready yet. The room is still not ready yet. The dresser came today, another dresser came today, and I'll tell you all about that later. But so Tom Lavecchia.
Angel, quick question. Yeah. Do you do the baby shower before or after the baby's born?
Before.
So my mother, from Italy, old school, she refused to have it before. She was superstitious. She would always have it after.
See, my mother-in-law was the same exact way.
Yeah.
Did not believe in baby showers. Yeah. My mom didn't believe in baby showers either. But and my father didn't either. My father's like, I'll buy you whatever you need. You don't need to have a baby shower.
I think it's an old school thing, and there's like a little superstition behind it.
Yes.
So they have to have it afterwards, and the wishing well and all that crap.
Yes.
Yeah, my mother always did it, always wanted to have it after.
Yeah. But you know what it is? They don't have the technology. They didn't have the technology back then that we do today. Correct. So like my daughter, gets right now, as of last week, the baby weighed 7 pounds, 15 ounces.
Big.
It's a big baby. That was last week. So she still won't show us her face yet, but anyway, they don't have the technology like they have. And my daughter's having a cesarean. She's going to have a C-section. Yeah, so that's how she knows the date. And
now, is she? I was going to say, how does she know the date? Now, did she get the 4D? Because my wife wanted the 4D, and I refused to get it. It freaks me out. It's literally not even. It's literally this baby jumping out of the screen at you, and it's like 3 and 4D technology. Do you know if she got that for her?
He didn't that, and I'll tell you why. Because my son and my daughter-in-law got it. Both times they had it with both my grandsons.
Yeah.
And guess where it is? Here in my house. They don't even have it in their
I
house.
know.
So
Is it a spooky
do it.
though? A little bit. I'm sorry.
It's very it is very spooky. But you see the baby's nose, and then you're
Yep.
like, oh my god, that baby, that
Yep.
nose is so big. I hope it's not like that when it comes
Yep.
out.
It's kind of ugly too, which it
Yeah,
really
it is ugly. I don't care what anybody. I was like, oh my god, how beautiful! But he really was ugly.
yeah.
But he's beautiful now.
God bless.
Thank you. So anyway, Tom got dressed up for us tonight.
That's also for Angel.
I really I was gonna do it without the avatar because Lee Cole was yelling at me. And then I said, yeah, but we promised the Patreons that as soon as we reach 100, we were gonna show our faces. So it wasn't fair to do that.
True.
So you got the avatar, Tom. Sorry.
No worries. I probably deserve it at this point.
Okay, so let me tell everybody. First, I'm going to apologize to Tom for calling him a piece of shit the other night. And also, Tom, this wasn't you or my idea to do this, right?
Well, I always invited John, and he always respectfully declined. But this was Lee's idea, so I want to give the credit where it's owed.
Exactly, because I heard tonight that somebody said, "Oh, you had a woman on that I don't like, so that means I demanded, this thing with you and I," and that's exactly what did not happen.
She's like number 17 on the list of people that maybe 18 if you count Lee.
Yeah, no. So that did not happen. I did not request it. Neither did Tom. Someone else did.
Lee.
And I as soon as he asked me, he was like, listen, think about it before you answer me. He goes, how about you and Tom Levecchia? I said, okay, right away. He's like, oh, I thought you were gonna say no. I said no. Yeah, I'd love to sit and talk to him. I want to know why he does what he does.
Well, also in fairness to you, and I have to give you credit, there's a lot of people, especially in this genre, that if they're mad, they'll go ahead, let's say, and do a show, or they'll talk to other people. Whenever you felt I misstepped, I got that email that ends in a 5. Boom, I knew what was coming, and and you dealt with me directly, and I respect that. I'd rather you deal with me directly than kind of go, out and about and do a whole, I don't know, 10 shows on me.
No.
You reach out
Yeah.
directly, so.
Exactly. So whenever Tom did or said something or had somebody on, I would go straight to him in an email, and he knew what was going to happen when he opened it. But then lately, I just I haven't done that. But the other night, I did call you a piece of shit, and I apologize for that. I didn't. It was what like without thinking, it just came out of my mouth, and I shouldn't have done that, but I did.
It's okay. It's funny because I don't, with 4 kids and 4 cats, I don't have a lot of time to watch shows, but I do try to watch your show, and it's funny, and I you know better than me. You probably mention my name like once every like 50 days, but when I tune in, for some reason you're talking about me. Like the last 3 times I tuned in, at that moment I was a POS, something else.
What did I do? When did I get mad at you before the other night?
You lumped me with Nadu not too long ago, which I do want to talk about because I do think we have the composition of our shows are a little different.
Yes,
so,
you actually are a lot different, but we will talk about that. But go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
no. So
you.
the 3. Well, it was funny because a few times. One was the POS comment recently. One was like out of nowhere, like Nadu and Tom Levecchia, these assholes, and I'm like sitting there like I'm like watching, and then it's funny. I was actually talking to Tony Silo because I wanted to. Again, I like to deal with directly with people. I was watching your show one time, and I couldn't pick him up out of a lineup, and he called me like a scumbag or something. I'm like, Jesus, it's really bad when people you don't even know hate you. So
Oh,
it's
Tony Silo.
no, but we're
Really?
cool. It's just we worked it out. It's just
Oh,
he mentioned
okay.
something that was pretty interesting.
Okay. So, um, this bothers me big time about
Please,
you.
please.
You were the one who gave Alite a platform.
Okay.
It was you. You kept platforming him, and he was getting bigger and bigger. And I would get mad at you and tell you, Tom, you know he's a liar.
Yeah.
But you didn't care that he was lying. You were all about the numbers, and you were all about the views and the subs and all of that. You didn't care. So that's what made me. That's what you and I, what I would fight with you about was
Yeah.
always that, right or
Yes.
wrong?
That's correct. And I can give if you want to add on a little more, or I can give you
No,
some
go ahead. You
context.
could. You could.
So I met Johnny A Light through this guy Dino Luzzi. He has like the energy drink. He's a Long Island guy, and his protege was Marty Berman from Geraldo. So he was Geraldo's producer. Marty's a good guy, Emmy winner. And what happened was he did some shows. John just got out of Johnny A Light just got out or whatever. He started doing the circuit, and you're right. I did pick up on him pretty early. I want to say as early as 15 or in 16, right?
into
We did
yeah.
our first interview. I have four cats, Brian. Jeez, if I change Brian's mind, I'll just get off and I'll be happy with that. But no, so first interview Johnny A Light in 15. It was done with a partnership of another a magazine. I wasn't on it. I just put it on my channel. But I guess when you started getting involved in 16, when you are correct, I interviewed him a few times and you weren't happy about it. But to be clear, and I want to talk about this, what people don't know is I did invite you on. You did respectfully decline because you're supposed to, if you
Well,
have
let
one
me
person
let me just I want to
on.
interrupt you for 1
Yeah,
minute. Save
yeah,
that thought. So back then in 2016 when this was going on, did I ever curse you out? Did I
yeah,
ever
yeah,
Okay, because there's, another content creator on here who says that I used to curse out everybody
yeah,
and okay, so I never did that to you. I never,
mm,
was on social media talking like a truck driver or anything like
yeah,
that.
no.
Okay, so go
So,
ahead.
so I guess this might be the first kind of point of conflict that I always use this expression. Um, any debate, we may get agreement or at the bare minimum get clarity. So we may not agree, but at least we'll know each other's decision or part. So had a light on numbers were good. It did elevate the show. And then I did you did reach out and I invited you to come on because I do believe in having an open forum. You did respectfully decline. You were like, hell no. Okay, now
Right.
um, I asked if your brother would come on my show. He wasn't doing press. He wasn't big enough. It wasn't the right fit. Now, if you remember this, and I could go back, and and I know you do remember this. You guys said, "Hey, listen, you know what? None of our family members are coming on." I think it might have been around even the son and the Godfather. So I think you guys were under kind of a gag order. You said, "Hey, have
Yes,
Chris
yes.
Castarosa on." Okay,
Right.
now a little known fact, and I'm not. Oh, Chris doesn't get mad at me. Of 500 shows that I've done, I only edited two of them. Both of them were related to you. The first one was him and I got together. We did a full interview. It was right after the Sugar Daddies incident. John
Right.
jumped in the water. He came on my show, and you guys were like, "Hell no, we want a rebuttal." Again, you declined. Your brother declined. You guys sent Chris on as literally the official Gotti representative. So I did a full show with Chris at the end, respectfully. He didn't like how it came out. I was like, Chris is a professional. I thought it was okay. Some reason he didn't like how it came out. I'm more than happy did another one with him, and that's the one that's on air today. Now, respectfully, Chris is a good guy, but if you have Johnny A on versus let's say Chris, the numbers are going to be skewed for Johnny A naturally because he has theoretically a bigger name. But I did have a rebuttal right after the Sugar Daddy show incident by having Chris on. And respectfully, you guys are the ones that brought him over. It wasn't like I scooped him up or he was some shill. It's
No, right. That was me. That was me.
that's
Yeah.
who you guys wanted on. And I
Right.
get that it wasn't a big enough show.
Uh-huh.
You didn't have a channel yet. You weren't even thinking about doing this stuff yet. So I get why you guys did it. But in
Mhm.
fairness, I did have him on. I think the next day. I could check the YouTube dates, and I think I had him on the next day.
Yeah, so Casparosa went on. But
Yeah.
so now from remember back then when he first started coming on,
Yes.
he hated John Gotti Sr., he hated John Gotti Jr., he hated the Gotti family.
Yeah.
Sammy Gravano was his guy. You remember that?
Yeah. So and that's a good point. So what I did was I want to say about I don't know, maybe about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I
Mhm.
revisited the one book interview that you absolutely hated, where he
Yeah.
mentioned Castellano was involved.
He
That
said he was sitting in a restaurant waiting
yeah,
for the
and,
call.
and he made some pretty big claims. I think I called it "How well did this age?" And I got into it. I was a little rough because I'm not gonna lie. Like, although I'm not like the biggest journalist in the world, I am a podcaster, and I do like to try to put out a good product. And I don't like to be lied on. So I did watch it a few years later. It didn't age well. So what happened was he actually called in. We got into an argument, and then what happened was, again, I isolated. I said, John, you're all over the place. I'm going to take 6 claims that you made, and I'm going to go ahead and do my best to try to either debunk them or I'm going to find them true. Of the 6, 3 seem reasonable, and I wasn't able to conclude the other 3. My point being is I did try to do some research and I don't know what they are. I could always get back to you on that. And I always tried to debunk what he said as things aged. Then what happened was things were the mob genre started really popping off. So that's when everybody started coming around. And what happened was when I did my last show with John, people were like throwing daggers at me. So again, I think we talked. You weren't willing to come on. Common Sense actually came on, who I know is not
Right.
a lawyer, but he's pretty knowledgeable on A Light's story. I
I
had
never
him on.
watched it. I
Yeah, I
never
had him
watched
on
that
for
one.
2.5 hours. With full respect to Common Sense, and he was good with you at the time, kind of like your not your representative, but somebody who had all the holes in
Who
the
he was
argument.
very knowledgeable on the whole
Wait,
A light thing, yes.
scarily knowledgeable. And listen, I'm pretty good about the guests that I have on. Where generally they have some sort of notoriety. I took a flyer on him. I don't know his name. I don't know his face. He was very well involved with the A-Lake trial, but outside of that, he was a little light. But I still had him on anyway. He did a 2.5 hour show. It
Uh-huh.
was like a marathon. And respectfully, a lot of people know me for having A-Light on, but they don't look at the smaller stuff that I try to do. Well, again, what's going to do better, Johnny A-Light show or Common Sense? So I at least try to have an open forum where you can see both sides of the coin.
Right. I never saw that. I
Oh,
never watched it. Yeah, I
it-
never watched it.
Common
I
Sense
should go
went
back and
for it.
watch it because I'm
Yeah.
I'm sure that probably didn't age well either. But
Yeah.
well, we'll see.
Yeah.
So now I want to ask you this.
Please.
So did you, after you did all of this, and then up until what was it, a year or two ago,
Yeah.
did you watch Locked Up Abroad?
I saw the rumblings in the mob genre, and I saw some of it, the clips, and yeah, it was a little bit of a stretch. Yeah.
No, Tom, let's be honest. Let's
No,
be honest.
was that the $10 million a day?
What,
There was one
Tom?
of them where he said they were
What?
dealing.
Well, he had a private making ceremony with my father.
Oh, that I didn't see.
Oh, you didn't see that part where my
I
father
just saw
pulled
the
him
$10 million
over?
a day thing in heroin sales or something.
Oh, okay. So you didn't watch the whole thing.
No, I'll go back. I'll go back. Just like I'll send you Common Sense. I'll go back and watch that, and then we'll link back up. I did
Oh
not see it.
yeah, that's a good idea because that's what I was I thought that you did watch that
No,
and that's
no,
why.
no, no. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm not like. I made whether the mistake or the opportunity of if I do have a guest on, add it as in person, they are a guest, whether it be a business person or an ex gangster. Do you have a meal? Do you have a drink? Do you have a cigar? You do that, right? So my point being is, I did spend time with him, and he's always been good about coming on my show as he rose. But as a marketing guy, not as a podcaster, he hitched onto your guy's name, got to a certain level of fame, and now he's branching out. as a marketer, it makes perfect sense. But if your last name is Gotti, it's not the right move. So I'm just, again, I try to see both sides of it, you know?
Right, but now, do you, when, let's just say,
Yeah.
when you platform these people,
Okay.
right? Do you ever um want, like, do you realize that these people, they put men away and then they get up on social media and they start ripping apart the, not only the men that they put away but their family members? Does that bother you?
Yeah, so that does, and if I could just give a little context, and then I'll go deeper on that answer. Um, I've done about 400 shows outside of the NBA button man. I'm assuming you're probably have questions about that. And of those, only 15 were either made men or associates in Cosa Nostra, which only represent 4% of all my shows. Now, either I suck at marketing my old stuff, the mob stuff is more popular, but either way, like it only represents 4%. So because I've interviewed a lot of people from all different walks of life, I try to treat each guest the same. So I do not like if they, rip people apart. I don't love the fact that they put people away. I'm a business guy. My shows, I've been consistent on this. I love the business end of Cosa Nostra. I love the historical aspect and how it coincides with the Italian American culture. So I look at it more like if you ratted, whoever made you, whoever chose you, made the wrong decision. That's kind of on them, you know. Number two, I don't love it, but sometimes you got to get your hands dirty to get the scoop, if you will. So I do not love it. It's not something I'm proud of. But the same token is I don't judge either. Remember, at least I am. I grew up Catholic. A Christian principle is not where you start, where you end. Some of these guys claim to be better people. Some of them didn't recidivate. I'm not there to judge them on their new life, but you try to give people a chance and hope that they come on your show in good faith. And then if they don't, that's when you have a Casperosa or common sense, a counterbalance.
Okay. I want to show you a picture.
Okay.
Okay. This is the late 80s. Okay.
Okay.
Does this person look like he was John Gotti Sr.'s or even Junior's right hand man, hitman?
He's young. Yeah, he's a young guy.
That's the late 80s.
Yeah.
Now, does that look like he could be a hitman for Senior or Junior?
I mean, this. If it's lead, anybody can do it. But he's a bigger guy now. I mean, he's not the tallest guy, but
See,
he's a
my thing is that he
yeah,
looks the part now.
yeah,
So that's how he gets away with what he's saying, because he looks the part now. But in all reality, that was him back then.
yeah.
He was a little peanut.
Well, can I also can I ask you a question if you don't mind?
Sure.
Okay, because part of his claim to fame was being an associate of your brother, right?
Right.
And when I pressed him on it privately too, he pointed out a few things. One, a Vanity Fair piece where when your father was coming, I guess, out of the car or coming from one of the trials, there was a panning of him, and I'm not saying he was there to pick him up, but he was there very close to the car that he was in. There was another one of him, coming out of your house, and another one
The
of him.
one when he was coming out of our house was on my brother John's wedding day. My brother John was not there, and neither was my father. My father left early, went
Okay,
straight to the, to get his hair done, and then to the Helmsley because we
got it.
had suites there.
Yeah.
My brother John uh, stayed at Bobby Borriello's house the night
Okay,
before his wedding.
got it.
So, because Bobby was his best man. So he was at Bobby Borriello's house. Um, A-Light was a car blocker. Like I've told this many times, like A-Light was and Stephen Kaplan too. They were car blockers. So they came to the door as Carmine, myself, my brother, my mother, as we got into the limousine, and what they were going to do was block the reporters who were going to follow us to the church, because we didn't want any of the reporters following us to the
Yeah,
church.
yeah.
That's what John A. Light's job was that day.
But then let me ask you, what about the time that it was your brother John and Iggy got pulled over and made a big scene, and they searched him and that kind of stuff. They were obviously together in the car. I'm
Right.
just trying to
But
piece it all together.
I know, but he says that he was going to pick up my father from court. Now, Tom, I don't know if anybody, if you'll believe this or not, but he has never, my father would have never gotten into a car with a John A. Light.
Okay.
Never.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I believe you're
never.
telling me the
He's
truth.
never been in my father's company, with the exception of my brother's wedding and another time where the government, where he was meeting my brother John at the Ravenite,
Yeah,
and my brother John actually was instead of him having to go all the way from Jersey to Ozone Park, he told him meet me at the Ravenite. He
yeah.
had to give my brother John something, whatever it was, I don't remember. But
Well,
that's the only time he's ever been even on the same block as my father.
got it. Now, let me ask a question, if you don't mind, because I know it's your show. I'm just
Go
getting the
right
question.
ahead. You could ask
But
whatever you
but
want.
I think one of the challenges is, and we might be in the middle, we might not, is I try to follow this as best as I can. I have Johnny A. Light hanging out with your brother, I think up to like, I don't know, maybe 88-ish. Does that sound about right? Or
Yeah,
maybe
88 to 91.
yeah, so 88 to
Yeah.
91, right? Where Johnny A. Light has it to like
Yeah, 89. Yeah.
93, 94.
Yes, he does.
I think he
Listen,
has
they
it
were
last
on
week.
and off friends when they were
Yeah.
younger, like
So
84. They were on and off friends.
yeah,
In fact, it was my brother-in-law Carmine who was his friend.
I heard
Carmine and him were friends.
I heard
And
that.
then my brother and him became friends. But it was from, I think it was 2 years, my brother said, where he was like close with him, very close with him. I think
Yeah.
it was 89 to 91 or 88 to 91, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But after 91, you never ever saw A Light again.
Well, so kind of give some context, right? So let's keep it simple. From 88 to 91, your brother's lockstep. This is our kind of period. Outside of that, we're done, right?
Yeah.
And he's saying we were good to 94, and he sends a
No,
photo.
that's
And
absolutely not true because
I'm
the
not, I'm
five
not,
trials, my brother had 5 trials
yeah,
for racketeering. There was nothing
yeah.
ever of
Well,
my of
I'll
A Light with my
I'll give you
brother.
the exact point. Why there's the rub, where you're intimately knowledge with the facts, right? Versus I'm presenting this to like a whole bunch of people, with the fullest respect. They're not as worried about the 91 or 93. They just want to hear a Gotti story. Now, it's not right if you embellish, it's not right if you lie. But what I'm saying is where I think where we kind of rub friction, if you will, is I do my best to report. I can't, control. That's why you have counter people on. You try to do your best in good faith to report on it. But a lot of people, you're talking about like, I have like people from Norway watch the show. I have people from Australia. And what happens is, don't get me wrong, we got to report the facts and the truth the best we can, right? We agree
Right.
on that. But what the challenge is sometimes is when somebody tells you one thing and somebody tells the other, it's really hard to kind of get the truth out, if that makes sense.
Well, how about well, what do you think of the jurors saying that almost the entire jury didn't believe the star witness, John A. Light?
Well, I ironically always said he's your brother's best friend because they didn't convict him part and parcel because they didn't find him credible. And
Yeah,
that's
but A Light was the last trial. You know what I mean? So for
oh, I got it.
3 other trials, they didn't convict him either. But what I'm saying is, doesn't that show people, look, a jury didn't even believe him. Why are we believing him? Not
Well,
me, but all of you.
so especially in 2015, and I believe you'll agree with this part at least. In 15 and 16, there was no Angel Boulevard. There was no Sal Polisi, right?
Right.
There was nothing out there for the mobologists. I said this on Lee's show. I think there's three people that watch. The 5 to 10% that are directly involved, indirectly involved, know the facts and know what's going on, like yourself, right? There's about 40 to 45%. Those people are they're mobologists. They love the mob stuff. They'll listen to some lies to cut through if they can hear about the 1988 ceremony with your brother and Mikey Scars. But they'll deal with some of the BS to get there. Those are the mobologists. And then the other 40 to 45% are the popcorn eaters. The people that it's just entertainment and it's like WWE. They don't care if there's a lie or not, right? So what I'm getting at is I'm not justifying any lying, but what I'm saying is the audience as watching this, I think the mobologists want to get to what they care about and put their charts in the little room, and the popcorn eaters can care less because it's truly entertainment for them. So again, not justifying, but I'm just giving you the outlook.
No, no, I understand that,
That
but
makes
see
sense.
me. First of all, Tom Lavecchia looks like he belongs to one of the five families tonight.
I'm the farm team in Jersey.
um, no, but the thing that bothers me is I'm not a gossip person. I don't
Yeah,
star magazines and
yeah,
crap like that. I have to see it and hear it with my own eyes and ears for me to believe anything.
yeah.
And so I don't get why people want to just hear bullshit, really. Like,
Well,
they
okay.
know they know certain people lie, but yet they still watch them. For what reason?
So
For what? I don't get it.
let's go pre-mob genre, post-mob genre, right? Pre-COVID, post-COVID. Oh, sorry, I don't want to say that word. I'm jamming up. C19. So pre-C19, there just wasn't like Foundation cigars. I never had Foundation cigars. I gotta check them out. I would have a cigar now if it's a little warmer out. But so pre-mob genre, who was there? There was like Jimmy Calandra early on in that American Mob show. There was Sal Polisi, and then there was Francis, and that's it, right? So those are the only guys talking. So you got to remember the mobologists are sitting there with their knives and forks and their bibs, like more, 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 but they weren't getting enough, right? So when Johnny Alay
Mhm.
comes on the scene, he was, whether we like it or not, the closest person to John Gotti, senior or junior. So everybody was rushing for it. But if you notice now that you're out, other people are out, and there's more people telling the truth and counterbalancing, I don't think his voice cuts through like it used to. And I'm not saying he has a bad show, but what I'm saying is his impact is not what it was because the mob genre progressed. So I think it's a good thing that some things got unearthed. And I think it's a good thing that even on my show, some things were flat out wrong. That to me, that's progress. You know what I'm saying, Angel? If that makes
I
sense.
know what you're saying, but see, and another thing, you brought up Sal Polizzi. He lies also. He greatly exaggerates. So does Ruggiano. Now, here's the thing. The other night, I was accused of being a bully by I don't know if he meant just me or Lee and I or just Lee and James being a bully towards Anthony Ruggiano. But this is what I say, and I said it the other night. Ruggiano, Sal Polizzi, John Elite, Gene Barillo, all these other people, right? I'm telling everybody, you don't know these people. I know these people. My family knows these people. My kids know Anthony Ruggiano. They were best friends with his son. Um, my son knew Gene Barillo very, very well. Don't you think that we know these people, and then so if I come out and I say this person is lying, this is not true, this greatly exaggerating his relationship with my father, uh, is that me being a bully?
Yeah, so I can give one example, and I said this on my show to him, so I'm not speaking out of school. Okay, so I interviewed Gene back in you got to
Yes,
forgive me, either 19 or 20
yes,
when he was
yeah,
first on the scene, right?
right.
And then I interviewed him again, which we met about that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And what happened was, one is I do know one of the associates that was friendly with Ronnie, and when I said, "Hey, my friend is so and so," he's like, "Oh, he was nobody," and I'm like, "Well, no, he wasn't." But I'm like, "Fine." I'm like, "I'll let that go because maybe he was closer, maybe it got exaggerated, maybe compared to me, he's somebody in that world, right?" So then I interviewed him a year later, and then all of a sudden, Ronnie G was a tough guy. So and so was a tough guy. This one was a tough guy. And I asked him on the show, I'm like, 'cause I don't take notes, by the way. Like,
Right.
just
I know what you're saying. I know
yeah.
exactly
And
what
I
you're
s and
gonna
I said
say.
to him, I said, "I'm a little worried because, like, you had this guy as a who bought a button, and this guy was a tough now he's a tough guy, and now this one's serious, and this one's a money earner." And make fun of me for saying this, I was highly disappointed. I'm like, "Wait a second, a year ago, these guys were nobody, now they're somebody." And he admitted to me, well, I was really pissed off at those guys at the time. So and he did admit it though, give him that credit, that he goes, "I was so pissed off at those guys at the time, that time passed. Now I'm willing to share how I really feel." So that was an eye opener to me that I know it's obvious for a guy like me. I'm not an idiot, but it's obvious to me as a podcaster or interviewer. Wait a second, you could interview somebody and it literally swayed by how they feel that day at that time. So kind of after that, I did. If you look at my show, I kind of slow down a little bit. I did have some informants on since but I've changed my tune a little bit, and to be
Right.
honest with you, a lot more cautious than I have been. So, Angel, that's why I feel like coming on because I feel like there's a lot of credence in some of your concerns. This isn't like Tom, I
Right.
can do free speech, I can do what I want. Well, if I'm gonna have a big show, I need to be more responsible for that. And
But
I'm also
but
one of the sorry, I'm also willing to listen too, where you're like, hey, listen, if you're gonna have somebody on, I'm not saying you have to be rude to them, but you do got to do some research and hold them to the fire. And I'll be the first to concede that, you know?
well, what Gene said to you was, "When I'm mad, I lie."
Something
That's
along
what
those
he
lines. Yeah,
said.
yeah,
When
yeah,
I lied about them because I was mad.
yeah.
So those were his words. He actually used the word lied. Now, and I had told you at that time
Yeah, you did.
that
Yeah, you did. You did. You did.
Ronnie Gialonzo's sister is my best friend for
Yeah,
48 years. I'm
yeah,
friends with the entire family, Vinny
yeah.
Asaro, all of them, Vinny's kids, uh, the Gialonzo's 48 years. So when at that time I had tried to tell you, but you didn't want to listen to me.
Well, that's why things happen. I'm just gonna put something in the private chat. I was friends with this guy. His girlfriend actually worked for me, and he was very close with Ronnie, very close. And that's when I think so.
Uh
I'm like,
huh.
hey, do you know so and so? And he's like, oh, he's nothing. I'm like, not really, but so yeah. So
No,
like I said,
exactly.
well, I okay, so I'm gonna give you a blessing and a curse. A blessing is I'm pretty good at spotting people earlier on who like sprouted, right? Separate from the mob stuff. Comedians, this one woman got like screwed over by this big doctor. It's actually my second largest show. I'm pretty good at like, wait, that may be big. And I do 10 of those, and probably two get really big and eight suck, right? So what I thought I was doing with Gene, I thought I was gonna get him early, right? And get like some really good insight that you normally wouldn't
Right.
get. But again, you live and learn. Maybe you hang out a little bit. Like I'll give you a quick example. I interviewed Dom Sakali a lot later. We were kind of supposed to hook up a lot earlier. It didn't happen, so that's part of it. But also, I interviewed him a lot later, and I'm happy for it because I actually use a lot of the content that was out there that he said, ask me anything, and that's what I did. So I'm learning too, and I'm trying to get better with it as well. You know.
But you don't think that he lies as well?
Well, I think that I mean that's a broad statement. So are people gonna?
Well, I do know this. I know Vinny Basciano's son, and Sakali lies.
Okay. I
I mean,
mean,
Sakali lied. Well, Sakali testified against my brother.
correct, correct. I mean, I don't think he was as effective either.
No, not at all. The jury didn't believe him either.
He was also in the paper called an idiot by one of the jurors that for Vinny Basciano. However, although they did put him away, there was a juror that went back and wanted to recant, but it was too late at that point.
Right.
Um,
So,
yeah,
also,
yeah.
now, what about? I hate to bring this up, but I have to because people left me comments. What about Panisi?
Okay. What part?
The part where he knocked out a woman's teeth. I spoke to a family member that absolutely did happen.
Okay. I can give I can give what happened at that time.
Okay.
So there was some rumblings about what happened, right? And I said publicly on the show, and I said privately, um, that if this is true, or there's some documentation, or it's absolutely conclusive, I will stop the show immediately without any 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 discussion. I grew up with three sisters in my house. My father left when I was two, so it was only my mother and my three sisters. My two brothers are way older, so they moved out already. So I literally grew up with that, with no men, just women. So when it comes to like female issues, I take them very, very serious. So I looked up where the frame of reference was. It came from McDonald, and you and I went back and forth on this in email. It came back from an attorney named McDonald that cited, that submitted it to to the judge, and said, "Hey, this happened A, B, and C." It got quashed and sealed, and basically, it's a defense attorney said this is what happened. Now,
Mhm.
Lisa Babbitt, who wrote the book "Guilt for the Guiltless,"
Mhm.
wrote it in the book and cited McDonald. Now, what I did, which as a person who has had somewhat of ethical person and trying to do the right thing, I
Mhm.
conferenced one on one with Lisa. I said, Lisa, I may need a very big decision to find out what's going on. I got friends at NYPD in Staten Island. I said, hey, is there a chart out there? Is there a dentist? I got dental connections. I said, is there something I could do to find out whether dental records, police report, eyewitnesses, something that I could have tangible that I can go ahead and say, hey, John, this is not working out. Lisa Babbitt and I spoke, and what she said is this: to be candid, I got it from the
Attorney.
defense attorney, and and I'm sorry, Lisa, for sharing this, but it's relevant. I'm uncomfortable um, saying 100%. Roughly 6 months later, publicly on her channel, she recanted her statement. So I went with our conversation. She couldn't be conclusive about it. I was unable to find any other evidence, so it wasn't conclusive enough to disband from the show. If I found one thing other than that, and if Lisa said yes, I was there, and I saw her, and I talked to her as a journalist, show's done. She was uncomfortable citing that it was done. I know a lot of people from Staten Island. I asked around. I did all my diligence, and I couldn't find anything conclusive. And she later recanted her statement a bit later. So that's why I continued the show, which actually ended not long after anyway.
Right.
So
But
it's
but
yeah.
you didn't believe Dominic Crea? He
Well,
was there.
so what happens is okay.
Uh,
So there's three truths. There's your personal truth, how you see it. There's a political truth, which is everybody gets together, believes the same thing, and then there's the objective truth, which is black and white, right? On
mhm.
this case, I can't go by my personal feelings. So I'm friends with John. I can't go with the group thing because everybody hates rats. Let me go with the objective truth. Outside, and Dominic, I know like we didn't have our niceties. You're welcome to email me. I'd like to open a line of communication. But if there's something outside of Lisa Babbitt's information and McDonald, I'm willing to listen, but I couldn't find it back then. And respectfully, I just can't go off somebody's word, like you said earlier. Said I can't believe it unless I see it or hear it, and I was unable to nail it down. And she did recant it later on. Lisa,
What do you mean she recanted?
I believe, and somebody put in the comments, she posted a comment about, because she's the author of Guilt to the Guiltless. She's the actual author, which is
Right.
used as kind of like the foundation for a lot of this movement.
Right.
She recanted and said, "I can, in good standing or good heart, or whatever, however she phrased it, that I can say that he did it because I'm unsure that he did." And she actually pulled back on it, which luckily, respectfully to everybody, imagine me ending my show in a relationship, although it ended anyway,
Right.
um, based off of a what if, and then later on, she's my source, and then she recants. But she was consistent with me. She wasn't nailing him to the cross when she spoke to me, and that made me uneasy. And then she recanted later on.
Okay. But the fact that she showed up at court with all her paperwork to testify uh, ag- um, for the defendant,
Wait,
uh,
Lisa's in the chat. Lisa, you don't remember me calling you, and I asked you about it, and then you gave me the exact information that's on the recanting. I could maybe go back to my phone logs and text to prove that we talked if we have a disconnect on the information, but I did check in with you as a way to find out what happened.
Oh, but I did speak to a family member, and it did happen. And she
Oh,
showed up at
hold on. You got to forgive me. You got to forgive me. If Lisa let me know if it's before or after the retraction, I didn't. If I don't know. It might have been before, it might have been after, but it was close to it. So either way, what at least if I misspoke, what I'm saying is I do remember speaking to her about it, and I do remember her retraction. The dates for each right now, I don't know what they are, but I did talk to her about it, and she did retract.
okay. Um, but then according to Dominic, I saw that he posted something that there is paperwork on it, but it's sealed.
That's correct, and Lisa said the same thing. Correct.
So there is sealed paperwork.
There is,
So
but I can't. Just like respectfully for other people in this community, there's sealed paperwork on a few people, and I've been consistent. If it's sealed, I'm not going to guess. I'm not, Johnny
okay,
Carson, the great Karnak. I have to go with facts. And Lisa did say it was sealed. That's correct.
okay. But there is paperwork. Now, but hold on. Now, did you make fun of family members of the people Panisi put away?
No, the only challenge
This
was
is this is something that
yeah.
somebody
The
put
only
in my
challenge was,
comments.
and ironically, I thought I was doing the right thing. A family member of one of the people that went away reached out to me on Facebook and said, I need to speak to you. I want to come on your show. I need to give our side. I checked her out. It was a guy's daughter. She came on in good faith. She was a little out there when we were on. So I said, we had a conversation. I did push back on one little thing because just it was my opinion. I'm
Oh
allowed to
no,
do
I'm
that.
not talking about that. I'm talking about other family members that he put away. And were you two like, was he making fun of them and you were laughing at it? I'm not speaking about that girl, that woman.
Okay.
Because when Gravano was trashing my father, you were laughing.
Hold on. Two separate parts. So when Panisi talked about somebody in somebody's family he put away, I do not recall. All this stuff is on air. Trust me, it can come up. So if
Okay.
somebody has the footage, I'd be happy to see it and discuss it. I don't have a recollection of that. When was Sammy making fun of your father? What in my interview?
Yes. He was trashing my father and you were laughing. And
Well,
then I remember I sent you an email about that. I
well,
said, "What the f is so funny?"
Well, I can own that alone. So when I had Sammy on, one, we both had C19. That's not an excuse, just was not well. Um, so when I interviewed him, the context and the full context of the interview was about business. That's what I care about. I wanted to hear his point of view. He was a number two person in 400-man organization that made $500 million a year in the 80s, and they did it off the books. To me, that's my interest, where I super care about things. That's what my show is about. So he brought it up, I believe, that he's like, that was stupid that he had people come, 26 captains come every week. It put everybody on the radar screen, and it was strategically a wrong move. And he said he was like stupid for doing that. I believe I
Right,
did.
but did you know that he did that himself on Tuesday nights in Brooklyn at his club?
He did do it at Tally's, but like I
He
said,
No, 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 no. He did it every Tuesday night.
at Tally's, correct.
And he had cars that were double parked, and people who lived in that neighborhood, uh, a dear friend of mine could not find parking spots because those cars were all double parked, big fancy cars, and men with suits got out.
Yeah.
So he is talking about my father doing that, but he did the same exact thing
Which
on
which
Tuesday nights.
which I was aware of Tally's and I was aware of it, but the context and narrative of my interview was to really understand, and I'm going to say this with fullest respect. These guys were on top of the world. They own New York. Collectively, they screwed it up. I care about what they did and how they did it, right? As a leader, as a manager, as a boss. I know it sounds corny and clinical, but that's what I care about. So I was super interested on your father's leadership style and how he did things behind his number two. I didn't care about his number two doing the same thing. I care about what the boss did right, and I care what the boss did wrong. I also did a analysis on who was a better boss, Gotti or Castellano, and it turned out to be a tie. Why? Because I believe your father was loved by the rank and file and loved by the guys who were really out in the street doing work, where Castellano was up in an ivory tower. So what I'm getting at is I really care about a certain part of the parcel of land that I may overlook things, and you respectfully can call me out on them. But I've been
Right.
consistent that my show's about business, if that makes sense.
Okay. Um, how come you didn't ask him about Alan Kaiser, the 16-year-old innocent kid that he killed?
Yeah, again, my show was 100% about, it's actually labeled the business of the mafia. That was a hit that was done because of personal beef. Was inconsistent with the narrative of my questioning and show. And just was not my area of
But do you,
interest.
you believe that that boy was a hit? That was what? What'd you say?
No, I believe when that unfortunate incident happened, I believe it wasn't related to the business portion of Cosa Nostra. It was, I believe, somebody tried to shake Sammy down, take over his bar, and then he retaliated against the guy Aldo. Alan Kaiser was there, and then obviously an unforeseen incident happened. But I'm more interested in like the rackets and the racketeering and the labor unions and that kind of stuff. And I've been consistent with that. If you see any of my shows, people to the point they turn off my show. I don't want to hear about business. I don't want to hear about, that's what I care about, right? I don't make a lot of money doing this. So when I have somebody on my show, I want to use this and learn to how to apply and make my business better, or people are watching their business better. It's kind of a niche thing. That's what some people kind of don't get about me, but it's a
Mhm.
niche that I own, and I just really care about the business aspect of things.
Okay. Um, I heard somebody the other night say this. I want to know how you feel about this.
True.
Um, two other content creators were making fun of someone who put hashtag free Vinny Basciano. They said that was wrong. You know, Vinny's a gangster. Vinny did this. Vinny did that. Um, but yet the informants that they praise did the same exact things that these men who are in prison are doing, and yet all they did was testify. That's it. They testified against people. They did the same exact crimes, but yet they're heroes. You feel the
Well,
same way?
yeah. So this is where I get conflicted, and this is where I can open up to you, and I should open up to you because it's good that we're talking.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'm my family hates me. I grew up in a very strong Democratic family, blue collar, union bucket, to work, hard hat, blue collar, Italian Democrat, right? But I've
Yeah.
been consistent on my beliefs, and I'm a very big law and order person. I've always been. I believe in law enforcement. I think informants are necessary evils, whether it be terrorism, whether it be a pedophilia ring, whether it be a sex trafficking ring, or whether it be Cosa Nostra. Informants respectfully are needed. Now, that's from the global view. But whether we look at a lot of these incarcerations, Italians who happen to allegedly be in Cosa Nostra get treated totally different than other inmates. For example, Bobby Manna is 94. He's still in jail. He should be out. Lacasio should have got compassionate release. So Vinny Basciano, I believe, although he may have done what he's done, or at least convicted of it, right? That
Mhm.
should he be free? Well, I do believe in law and order. I have to believe in the system, but I also do believe, and that's where the conflict comes in internally for me, is as an Italian Americans get the raw end of the deal. The First Step Act, it was a great thing that it proportionally helped African Americans, but how many Italian Americans you see walking down the First Step Act that are eligible? So that's
Not
why I
one.
see both sides of the coin, Angel. I'm like I'm
Yeah, not one, not one.
well,
Uh,
so I'm empathetic to that, right? I'm
right.
empathetic to that. So if
Like
that
my uncle Pete was not he wasn't accused of any murders or you know beatings and stuff like that, and yet he couldn't get a compassionate release and he was dying.
well, if you look at it, and especially in the last probably 30 years, violence in New York City is way down. Violence in Cosa Nostra is nil. So a lot of these guys that go away are the business stuff of RICO and racketeering, and these are non-violent offenses. That's why, and I know I don't think it's going to happen here, but as a community, whether it be Italian Americans or people that are into the mob genre or both, is you got to look at these people and say, hey, you know what? They're not angels, they're not perfect people, but they got convicted. Was the sentence fair? Was the trial fair? Was the appeal process fair? And I'm an open-minded guy. Do I think every
Right.
single person is there belongs there? Absolutely not, right? But I'm there to kind of
Mhm.
report on what's going on. But that's my point. If you do need, I say this, I said on Lee's show, and I'll say this on every show we go on. There should be a law that if you inform on a group of people, you should get 25% of the sentence of the largest sentence given out. That is not only going to deter informants, but it's going to deter people from doing crimes. I'll tell you why. You don't think people go in and say, hey, I'm going to go do dirt with Angel, and if things go by blow trial, I'm just going to rat her out.
Exactly.
So, so,
Exactly.
so if there was a
Exactly
law,
what they're gonna do.
if there was a law that they hand out 100 years, I should get 25 because I did the penalty. I should not be involved with that. Stuff like that should be in place again, not to deter informants because you need them, but deter doing the crime in the first place.
In the UK they don't do things like that.
Well, I did ask Judge Gleason, and I think you were actually somewhat happy with the interview. I think, if I'm not mistaken, or it pointed out that Sammy lied. I
Oh,
asked,
yeah, yeah, I didn't see the whole interview, but yes, it did.
yeah,
Gravano said that he became, a rat, I'm just gonna say it, a rat, because my father was gonna throw him under the bus. It turned out that not to be true at all. It
correct.
turned
And
out
then,
he
then he
said he
later
was
said he
afraid
later
they were
said,
gonna kill him.
and he told Judge Gleason, which again, I don't think Judge Gleason, ex officer of the court, ex judge, high profile defense attorney now. I don't think he has any reason to lie. And
No,
he
he was
said
a
the reason,
prosecutor.
and the reason why he said that he did it was because he thought he was going to kill him. But then when you
Right.
start to unpack it, it's like Comey got promoted because your father,
They all
Mueller got
became
promoted.
judges.
Huh?
Everyone at Laura Ward, she
Yep.
became a judge.
Yeah.
Gleason became a
Yep.
judge.
Yep.
They
And then
all became judges. Yeah, they all became. They all got big promotions for that.
well, I had a
And
guy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I had an ex FBI guy on my show, and he said the Coleman, and a lot of these ex FBI guys are coming out and saying the FBI is not what it was, and they call the Comey era and Mueller era a disaster, and I think it was.
Well, because Mueller, that's how you say his name, right? He
Yeah,
became friendly with Gravano.
yeah,
And so did Comey. They
and
became friendly with Gravano.
George Gabriel, but that's
Yes.
respectfully his biggest con. So like, but he's been consistent along the whole way. I was having a conversation with somebody not long ago, right? So respectfully, when Frank DeChico was blown up, right? Which again,
Yeah.
I care about the business and the chess aspect. If you look at it from that way, it probably was a strong move because he was a strong guy and it weakens the leadership of that brigada, right? Now, what were your father's options for Brooklyn? He had to pick somebody from Brooklyn. There was a lot of powerful people in Brooklyn, but Sammy was very powerful, but the other guys weren't the hugest fan. So I understand why your father picked Sammy, but he pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. He's pretty good at it.
You know whose eyes he didn't pull the wool over?
Who's that?
Two people. My mother and my brother John.
I did hear from somebody from Howard Beach because and I'm not going to speak out of school, but I heard he
Uh-huh.
wasn't as like close to your father as he says. It was obviously a business relationship. They're running a Port Brigada, but I don't think he was at your like
No.
barbecues every weekend.
No, I met Gravano 2 times.
Yeah, and then
Once
Karen,
at
I
my
think only met.
yeah, 2
Yeah,
times. Once at my brother's wedding and once in the MCC where he cried and complained that there was no mail on a Saturday. I
and
will
then
never forget that.
I think Karen met your father. I think once if
At her
that.
sweet 16?
Correct, correct.
Yeah, that's it. So
Yeah.
we no, they weren't that. He keeps saying my mother was Jewish. How close could he have been with my father? He
Well,
keeps insisting my mother was Jewish.
so let me unpack this a little bit. So because they weren't like that close of friends, he very rarely showed up. What is it called, the Red Door or the Bergen, whatever you guys called it. And I just heard from a pretty reliable source that the guys in that inner circle didn't like him, even from the off the rip, didn't like him and didn't trust him from a really reliable sources.
Yeah, see, I mean, I don't know about all of that stuff. I only know what I learned in court. I only know what I read in my brother's book.
Yeah,
And my
I read your brother's
brother,
book. It's fantastic. Your brother's book is fantastic.
well, thank you, but my brother and my mother did not like him. Did
I,
not like him. My mother used to tell my father, I'm telling you, he's no good. My father would get mad at her. And
yeah,
she said, Johnny, for every king, there's a prince in waiting.
yeah. You know what it is, and it actually was a right move on paper because you have to remember, like, the power wasn't super in Queens back then. It really was in Brooklyn, and Bronx was small, but they were powerful. Your father politically made the right move. It sounds bad, but then when the Chico departed,
Yeah.
it's
That
hindsight
that
20.
that made that broke my heart. I felt so bad about that.
Well, that was right on 86th Street on, like, what, a
That
Sunday,
was
was it?
terrible. It was absolutely a horror. But do you think that there'll ever be another? You think that Gravano will have a funeral like my father did?
Your father, I know your sister said the last of the Mohegans. Um, uh, I don't think you're ever going to see, and respectfully, a gangster wedding like that ever again. It's not happening.
Oh, you mean a funeral?
A funeral, sorry,
Yeah.
funeral. Even wedding too are pretty low key now. But you'll never see a funeral like that ever again, where people hanging stuff from the streets. Listen, the reason why we're all here is your father was a guy who came from nothing. This family is from Italy. What, 11 kids, came from nothing, and became one of the most. He was a king of New York. Like, we can push and pull and
Yeah.
say he was a king of, like, when New York was New York, right? So, like, there's a lot behind that, and the fact that he did that, and I'll stand by this. If he was able to maybe keep his head on straight and go to school, he would have been head of a Fortune 500 company. I mean,
Yeah, that's the sad thing is you're
I would
right.
argue, I would
He
argue,
was so intelligent too. He had a very high IQ. I mean, oh, whatever.
no,
He's
no, but
gone now.
you know what it is. You know what it is. And it's weird because Get Gotti's out and it's like number one and all that kind
Uh-huh.
of stuff. And is there enough juice there and different angles and that kind of stuff? There probably is, to be honest. But there's a lot more to your father, I believe, that people haven't unearthed yet. Because that's the one thing, he wasn't an idiot. And if you do listen to the tapes and that kind of stuff, I do think there's a little bit of showmanship, but, like, very intelligible, used very strong words, knew, like, it was very Machiavellian. He knew what he was doing. He pulled off the most important hit in the history of all time, outside of Julius Caesar, probably. I mean, you're not an idiot or have loyalty to in order to do that.
Well, um, I just lost my whole train of
All right,
thought.
I
I was
mean,
just gonna ask you something. Um, crap.
no worries, take your time.
Yeah, I know. I was just gonna ask you something, and then you like knocked me off my little
Well,
thing.
I will say this. I will say this. So I've, again, whether you like me or not, I've interviewed, Pablo Escobar's wife, right? I interviewed
Did
this
you
summer.
really?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. I was gonna do it in Spanish, right? Because my Spanish is decent, but I had to have my wife translate because I would be like two, which is you, but it's very informal and almost offensive. So my wife's like, "Nah, you're not doing it. I'm going to translate for you." And then I did who was your father's protege on the other side of Sicily at the time, Totorina's son, Salvo Rina. He never did a U.S. interview. It was the first ever interview, and I interviewed him as well. And he's allegedly was involved with the life, but his father was probably one of the most important people out there, along with your father, right? He's the guy who blew up the two judges in Sicily. I don't know if you remember in the early 90s. My point being, and which is terrible, but my point being is I really am interested in how the people around them, and such as yourself, interacted, how the nuances, what they ate. I reached out to the guy that sold your father's wine. Your father's wine collection was off
Tony?
the chart. The guy, yeah,
Tony?
yeah, I was gonna have him on the
You
show.
spoke to Tony?
I was gonna have him on the show because there was a New
Wait,
York Post article on him.
Tony Diudo? You spoke to him?
Yeah, so there's a New York Post article about it,
That
and
was one of my brother's attorneys. He's a very dear friend of
he
ours.
owns a nice wine shop, I think in Queens, right, or Manhattan.
Tony, I don't know. He owns a few restaurants. He
Hold
owns
on.
a few restaurants. In fact, we were at his restaurant one night, and who walked in? Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke eats
Yeah,
there all the time. We ended up taking a whole bunch of pictures with Mickey Rourke. My brother hadn't seen him in quite some time, and
yep.
uh
Well,
and
so
we had a great
yeah,
time that night. I didn't know you knew Tony.
yeah. So I reached out to him. So he wanted to do a story under the wine collection, and there's still some left. There was a Lafitte Rothschild for like 7 grand, a DRC for 8K, a Petrus for 10, and another Rothschild the year I was born for 7K. Now, I'm a huge fan of your father, and I'm a huge fan of wine, but they put a nice mark on that of your father's. But one rapper bought out most of the collection. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't even know that. Wow.
He posted it on YouTube, and he was all happy about it. But my point being is, your father's wine collection was probably second to none.
Well, did you ever hear the story of what happened one night when my mother made I forgot what she made. I think it
Please
was a
tell, please tell it again because that's the best story.
veal dish, I think it was. And my father, she cooked. I was there that night, and he said, Butch, this is really good. And
Yeah,
he said, what'd you put in this? How'd you make this? And she says, oh, and wine. And he says, wine, what kind of wine did you put in? She says, oh, one of those bottles over there. And
that's
he said, which one? He said, well, it should be good. It's only $1,000.
back then.
Back then, he says, well, it should be good because that
Yeah.
bottle's $1,000 bottle of wine.
And he knew his wines because French wines
He
age
knew
the
his
best.
wines. Without
They,
a doubt, he knew
they,
his
they
wines.
age the best. So, like a 1975 Rothschild, you could open now and drink it, and it'll be absolutely delicious. So that bottle, 7,000 back then, is probably like 20 now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember the name of the wine, but
Yeah.
it was funny. We all started laughing. She's looking, and he's like, "It's no big." He laughed like it was not a big deal. He wasn't going to get mad at her or anything, and he really did enjoy what he was eating.
Well, obviously. Well, I also heard he was like very generous with it too, meaning
Very
like,
generous.
it wasn't like don't touch daddy's collection. He'll pull out like
Never.
Christmas or like a bottle that's majorly important.
Wait, I think I have a picture. Did I show it? Listen, I could swear. I wonder if it's still in here. Yeah, right here. Look.
Oh wow, there's all Louis
Those are
the
my brothers now.
or
Okay?
Louis the 13th.
Look at
Sorry,
all those bottles.
or was Louis the 14th? I was screwed it up.
So yeah, he was very generous. If you said you liked something, he gave it to you. Take it home. That's what he used to
Wow.
say. Go ahead, take it home. Take it. You could have it.
Well, those
And
are the Louis the 13th. So those are I mean, those are older. You're probably
don't
looking.
forget, yeah, those are not new.
They could be forget about like them John Gotti having them, which is a whole nother nuance.
Yeah.
Those could be like $5,000 each,
Yeah.
and they go really nice with cigars. Really nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your
But
father wasn't
he
a cigar guy though, right? I don't think he was a cigar guy, right?
yeah, once in a while,
Yeah.
not a lot. My like he enjoyed a good cigar.
Yeah.
like after dinner here and there. But my brother John, the same thing. Enjoys a cigar once in a
Well,
while. My
yeah.
brother Peter is a big cigar.
Is he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're
I
big
gotta cut
cigar.
down a little bit, but I enjoy him a little too much.
Yeah. What else was I gonna ask you? Somebody text me and wants to hear you say "basta."
Basta. That's for you. That's for you. Not for that.
Okay.
Basta. That's for you, Angel. Not for them.
Okay.
That's for you because you had me on your show. That's for
Wait,
you.
and there was something else. I have to look at it. Just
Yeah.
give me a minute, because somebody else asked me something, and but I have to go look at it. Hold on. Who knew that?
Gunsmoke. So what happened was I was on Lee's show, got a little heated. I said Basta, which is enough, and Gunsmoke has like the best edit ever. I don't know if you ever played it. I don't know if Gunsmoke's watching, but they're like the best edit ever, and caught me at like because I'm like actually believe it or not, a pretty mild mannered guy. I'm hyper in general, but it takes a lot to get me upset because I've been through it all. And he just had me at that one moment of anger, so I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, so here are the two things. One is from Bobby.
Okay, Bobby.
Oh, I thought my daughter was home. Uh, and Bobby says, please don't let him get away with saying, I want to show all sides. I'm neutral. There's a video of him laughing with Panisi and mocking the families of the people he told on. What do you say to that?
I don't have a recollection of me laughing at like him saying, "Oh, he put this person away. Let's make fun of their family," and then laughing. I have no recollection of that. If listen, all this stuff is out there. It's cataloged. Trust me, I don't even fight the strikes anymore. If you could find it, I'll be happy to come on and address it. I don't have an independent recollection of that whatsoever.
Okay. Um, and lying informants ask him how he would feel ask him how he would feel if you continuously platform people that lie about his family and he knows they are lying but continues to do it.
Well, like I said, and listen, a lot of it's knowledge, right? There seems to be a lot of energy towards 4% of my show, right? Versus, hey, Pablo Escobar's wife, not an informant. She even said I couldn't inform because they would have killed me. She actually had to sign away all of her assets. Totorina's son, not an informant. I know kind of a weird guy at the time, but Paul Tanzo was in the life, not an informant. Of the 15 or so, like some of them weren't informants, right? So my point being is, and A and B, I'm not the arbiter of the truth. I can't necessarily indicate what they're lying about or not. Like we talked about, three truths: your own, the group, and objective. If somebody sends to me something objectively wrong and proof, I'll just remove the show and do one better by having. That's the thing. I'm not saying I'm neutral. What I'm saying is I listen to both sides, and both sides can come on. Like I said, I had Casperos on, I had Common Sense. You're always welcome to come on. I'd love to have you on. But the truth of the matter is, if there's something that somebody disagrees with, see, one thing people they can't say about me, I am scarily a free speech guy, almost to a fault. I am like the First Amendment junkie to a fault. So if somebody says something that's out of pocket that they disagree with, even if they're not notable, they have an open door invitation. They can come on anytime. I did a show today, which was scary for me. That there was a book. I had it out. Give me a second. There was a book. Um, Giovanni's Ring. This was written by a cop who turned a Fed and put away guys in Elizabeth, a lot of which I knew or grew up around or my family knew. It was a little awkward for me because I'm talking to somebody who put some people I know away. I had a guy reach out to me who knew my family and goes, "I need to come on your show. There's some parts of the book that are bullshit." I'm paying to muffle his voice, and having him on my show, and he's talking about some of the guys that were in the book that they relied on, and he came on. So I have a track record of open performance. I just hope people use the same energy that say, "Oh wow, I know you have informants on. Oh, you have this one on too. Okay, I may not like you, but you at least round about
But
performance.
this is my problem with you, and I
Yeah,
always, this is what you are talking about. I just remembered this
yeah,
was always my problem with you is
yeah,
that I, and not just you,
yeah.
um Nadu too. Only Nadu's a different story because Nadu gets vicious. Like
Okay,
Nadu liked me, liked everything until liked my family, always said nice things about my father and my brother until he got mad at me, and then all of a sudden it became this, every shit thing that he could do, he will do. He gets personal, and because like an example, we were on another content creators show, and Casparosa came on and said that he interviewed the alleged head of the Aryan Brotherhood who was in Marion with my father, and that whole that John Gotti paid the Aryan hood, the Aryan Brotherhood to protect him, was a lie. But and they do heard it. So did the other content creators. They heard it, and now suddenly, um, a week ago, oh no, he did pay. No, he did not.
okay. Yeah,
You don't do
I,
that. No, that's what I'm gonna say.
yeah,
You don't do that. But
yeah,
what bothers me, and what I always say about you
yeah.
and other people who do this,
Well, don't get
um,
me wrong, I can't speak for other people, but yeah, feel free to criticize me.
you
That's
know,
why I'm here.
is, in other words, when they come on, instead of being like a talk show host and letting them come on and promote themselves or whatever they're promoting, I always felt that, why not ask them difficult questions like,
Yeah,
wait, so Johnny, like, that doesn't make sense because even the jurors said, they didn't believe you. Like, how come you don't do things
yeah.
like that?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and so to give a quick background, and then I'll answer it. People think being evasive, but I'm going to answer as direct as I can. By design, my show again, I kind of focus on business stuff usually, right? Number two, I'm just not wired to be that gotcha guy. It's not the format of my show. I'm not overly compelling to try to trip you up. It's not very lawyery, and there's a few reasons why I'm like that. I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to share their story. I maybe run the risk of them telling someone truths. Maybe I can push back a little bit more. But the truth of the matter is, I'm just not the I got you guy, right? That's kind of like just my nature. If you're known as being the gotcha guy and kind of being pushy, you're not going to get any good guests right now. One feedback that I've gotten, which you've given me, and you could check out the Sakali interview and some of my later interviews, I'm going to own that the pendulum might have swung so far the other way that these were softballs and too easy of questions where I could have pushed back. So you're 100% right on that feedback. And I own that I need to be a little tougher in interviews because you know what? I may not get somebody, somebody's in jail and can't talk about their side. Listen, I'm evolving as well, right? Will I have an informant on again? Maybe, maybe not, but I'm not clamoring to. And if I am, you have my word, I am going to research it better and try to be a little better about it. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
like last year, was it last year? Yeah. This whole thing broke out about MRE. I, as uncomfortable as it was for me, because I was good friends with him, I was at that time. I brought him on and I asked him every uncomfortable question that people told me to ask him. I
Yeah,
asked him, and I even in the back said to him, "Do you want a hint of what I'm going to ask you?" Absolutely not, he said.
yeah,
And so when he gave me an answer, and I was like, wait, huh? I went back and asked him, and that was a friend. You know what I mean? That was a friend. So that's why I don't understand when content creators have people on and they don't ask them the tough questions. If, like, when Gene said that to you about, yeah, so I was mad at him, so I lied. When I'm mad at people, I lie about them. Why didn't you, like, go for him? I mean, I would have.
yeah. I do. If I recall, I did think I got like irked, and I don't write down questions. So a lot of it's on the fly. A lot of it's organic. So
Yeah, I do the same thing.
yeah, but so in fairness, there's a little bit of equivalency of people were getting on you about MRE. Now, again, you believed that he went on your show and went on in good faith, right? That's how I'm filtering what you're saying. I also, for a while, and I think some of us get burnt, also for a while assumed people came on in good faith. Now I have a better filter and I'm going to take it more serious because I am talking to the people that are affected by this. I am talking to the family members, the people that are fatherless and the people that are
Okay.
grandfatherless and trying to get out
Okay.
of jail. So you have my word that I'm going to take it more serious, and I know you'll hold me to it.
And I have to ask you what you think about this because because someone just text this to me, asked me to show you and think about this. Is when I asked you before if you think anybody will ever have a funeral like my dad did, and then I wanted to ask you if you think that Gravano will have a quarter of what my father had, and there are some people who think that there will be no funeral because this is going to happen.
Jesus. Oh Jesus! Okay. Listen, I'm friends with Karen. I'm open about it.
Hey, listen, he made her very thin in that picture. I think that's a very nice picture of
Well,
her.
listen, Karen.
Very flattering. She should love it.
Karen has been very supportive of me over the years. I befriended her when he was in jail, so I was always there, like when you would call. I'm very close friends with Ramona. I'm probably closer with Ramona. Ramona's like a close friend. So I'm in a weird spot with some of this stuff, but I try to do the best I can.
Okay. Well, I always say that he has two sons. That's the worst thing I say about her. And I think I'm allowed.
Yeah.
But let me see if anybody
I
has.
should say, would you
Lee Cole, I dropped you the link, Lee. I put it in your
Wait, hold
Facebook. You
on, hold
coming
on,
on?
hold on, hold on.
What?
Put a one in the chat if you want me to host a show with Karen versus Angel.
Yeah, that'll never happen
If she'll do it,
because
would you do it?
she, no, I won't do it because she curses and acts like an animal, and I do not.
Would you do it with Ramona if she did it?
Ramona, I don't have a problem with
That's what I'm
Ramona.
saying. Maybe have a conversation. You
Yeah,
guys
I
have a
don't
long time.
like, but for what reason? Like, I don't. Does she?
Let's
She
see
doesn't
this.
say anything about my
No,
family.
it doesn't have to be. Not everything has to be controversial and angst. It could actually be conversation, chatting about stuff that you guys want to chat about. I don't have like my show is like not overly dramatic. The drama comes from the people that watch my show. My show is not. There's nobody yelling, screaming. I don't think I ever raised my voice once on my show. And the Boston
Uh,
was on Lee's. I do want a fairly clean show. It's very docile, if you will. But I'd love to have you on with somebody, or you could just chop it up.
yeah, but I don't think that I need to do that with Karen Gravano.
Well,
I'll do it with anybody else. I don't need to be on the same screen as her.
I,
Like I just I don't like her.
I respect that.
Yeah, I don't like her, and I can't be a phony. I can't be nice to her if I don't
Yeah,
like her.
yeah,
And that is because of things that have gone on in the past, not because of whose daughter she is. It's because
yeah.
of certain things that have happened in the past where, she went after my young nephew, and that got a little ugly because you go after my nephew. Of course, my sister and I are coming for you. And then my brother John ended up getting into
If I remember correctly, and stop me if I'm hey, Lee, correct me if I'm wrong, is you were never friendly towards her, but there was some media back and forth. But prior to that tiff back and forth, you were like pretty neutral on her. Like you never went after her proactively.
never.
Yeah,
Never. I
yeah,
mean,
Angel,
until until she opened up her mouth about my father, because she was doing the same thing. She was carrying out, for whatever reason, if it was trying to get people to like her father, but she was doing the same thing. John Gotti was going to throw my father under the bus. No, the truth finally came out, and I don't see them owning up to that.
yeah. Well, she was also put in a tough spot.
Yeah,
She
of
didn't.
course, that's her father. Of course,
Yeah,
I understand that. But
and
just
she
leave my father out of your mouth.
and she also didn't go into the program right away either.
No, she did not.
Yeah,
Believe me, my brother, I read it. It's on our Patreon. I read what my brother had told her. My brother and Mikey Scars confirmed it. Every word my brother said was true.
Okay.
That he did go to the house with Mikey Scars and her uncle. I think it was Eddie Garofolo. I'm not sure. Uncle Eddie, I think it was.
Yeah.
And she was she wanted no part of her father.
Yeah. 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 I think they kind of reconciled a few years after, and then she moved to Arizona.
Yeah. Um, when selling wolf tickets goes wrong, says you can take Angel out of Angel Boulevard, but you can't take Angel Boulevard out of Angel.
That's it.
Hi, Lee Cole. What's up?
Well,
How does it
first
going
of all,
so
I like to
far?
say the only way you can get on the same screen with Karen is if it was a 100-inch screen TV.
Oh,
And
come on, Lee.
Oh, Lee Cole. Look how nice you made her, Lee. Look how pretty she looks. And
she
look
looks
how
pretty in that.
skinny. She
Look at
does.
her.
I have to
She
say.
looks hot.
Yes, she does. 100%.
She's like, they're like, Sammy, don't die. They're gonna hold him up. They're gonna prop him in the chair. They're gonna move his hand. You're gonna move his hands like this. And he's gonna be dead for 6 months. That the studio's gonna stink. The studio's gonna stink, and they're gonna have all these. Did you ever see Seven when the dead guy's there and they got all the things hanging from the ceiling? That's what they're gonna do with Sammy.
Tom, he's not saying anything bad about her. He's just
yes, I am. Yes, I am saying it's
they're
bad.
not going to let their cash cow go.
Yeah, no, I got it. No, listen, I think personally, and I think Lee covered this. I know him. No, Lee covered this. He was hooked up with a big producer. He lost his producer. He is doing interviews. He's getting, like whatever he's getting. He's doing some lives and that kind of stuff. But as far as like the bigger stuff, I don't think that's in the cards for him. And I think, it's starting to peter out a little bit.
Well, because I think that Mikey Scars is very effective towards Gravano's.
Well, what I say, the goalpost moved. The people in the genre came in. You can only get away with so much stuff. Even myself, like I'm actually like when I looked for interviews, I don't there's a lot of people I don't even really want to talk to anymore because of other stuff people said that I believe to be true. So yeah, it's a different ball game now.
And Marky, I'm not going out of weight. I'm a fat fuck too, just like her. What are you talking about? Put a wig on me. I look like Karen Gravano.
No, you don't.
But prettier.
I can't. So Lee, how do you think this went tonight so far?
All joking aside, I think it's what you need, Angel, because one thing I noticed about Tom is that not everybody agrees with Tom. Tom and I've had some big battles. I mean, he was on my show, and he that's the night that he went Basta Basta on Tony Pizza. It was a great moment, and it was one of those great moments that 2 years later it still lives in infamy. Basta Basta, it's like.
Can everybody hit that like button, please? There's 295 people here. Please hit that like button.
Oh, my dog Polly's shaking because I just yelled Basta Basta.
Oh, God.
He's like, what the hell did you do?
So what do you think of Tom saying that he's going to make a conscious effort to ask tough questions of people that come on?
I think that this is what people need. They need to see that, listen, we don't all agree with each other. I'll tell Tom the problem between me and him is that we went in different directions on the informants. After I dealt with the informants, Tom, don't you ever feel dirty dealing with the informants?
No, like I said, I've interviewed multiple business leaders. I've interviewed gangsters, interviewed lawyers, judges. I try to treat them all the same. Once you get partial, that's when you get kind of shitty content. And that's where you get what they're trying to accuse me of. You don't want to be too partial when you have a guest on. You try to treat them with respect and try to get their story out.
Well, you know what it is too, and I told you this, that whole incident that I had with Sammy, when I seen Sammy's eyes, he went from talking to me to like, you could see his eyes were evil. I haven't seen many eyes like that in my life.
Yeah.
And he's telling his son to pull me out of the car.
Well,
He said, pull him out of the car. And this is a 78-year-old man.
yeah. No, I mean, but
And the thing is, his eyes. See, the one thing I cannot forget about that confrontation was his eyes.
I mean,
He would kill to this day if he had to.
yeah. I mean, he's not like kind of a good guy, but I don't think anybody, paints him that way. So it's just consistent with who he is. Really, really quick. I just Angel, want to tell you, she's not in the chat, but so I used to have somebody who used to do all my comments for me, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I felt like I got to do it myself. So now I do it myself. And one commenter actually kind of got to me a little bit. Not any sob story or any woe is me, but Lori Love was like, you know what, Tom? Like, because she saw one of my interviews, she was really leaning into me. We're going back and forth, and she's like, I get what you're trying to do, but you got to think about us people who got people affected, and that's why I've actually my last Dom Sakali interview. That's why the last few interviews I have gone a little harder because I kind of owe. Like, I'm not knocking anybody here. I owe my subscribers and my audience everything because that's who I serve. Like, I'm a business guy,
right?
My customers, so it'll be better content if I'm actually harder on it. There's a way to be hard without being disrespectful, right? And that's the balance that I got to find. But Lori Love, I don't think she's here, but she actually kind of turned me on to you got to kind of change up a little bit because I really kind of felt it. It was a little small dialogue, but
yeah, because that's what I always say. It's like some of you guys act like talk show hosts. Like you just let them come out and say, whatever they want and not ask any tough questions. Not ask them. Wait, that doesn't make sense.
A question I would like someone to ask Sammy. Sammy, what is it like when you're sitting in front of your best friend and you're talking to them and someone's going to come up and shoot them in the back of the head? Do you just get up and go out and say, hey, okay, get rid of the body? I'm talking about his buddies. I mean, he killed some of his friends. He had him shot in the head.
There's nothing worse than killing an innocent 16-year-old boy, Lee.
One of the challenges is
those guys know what they get into when they enter that life. But a 16-year-old
Angel, I understand what you're saying, but not many people sit across from people and watch more than their best friends get their head blown off. People have friends blown away. There's no doubt about it. People shoot their own friends. But Sammy three times, sat in the room where he set someone up to be killed, and he sat there while the person was shot in the head.
Well, I want to give some context because Lee has a show, Angel has a show, I have a show. There's a lot of people, watching, right? I'll give you an example. The bigger interviews, right? The bigger ones. Sammy's questions, I submitted in advance, but I wasn't told that certain things were inbound or not. And because it was like a business context, everything kind of went through, right? Escobar's wife, the bigger interviews, I submitted questions, right? However, the mid-level and small interviews, you can kind of ask what you want. One of the challenges is a lot of these guys, they have like media coaches now. They have their canned answers, they have their canned response, so my only concern is I do agree with all of you on that. It's just that these guys are going to feed you a line of shit. You know what I mean? And that's the only challenge.
And I like to say one thing. Carmen Costello says a good thing. Lee, what the F are you saying? Do you know how many friends in that life set their best friends up? Carmen, you're absolutely right. They set them up. But how many of them sit across from them when his best friends get shot in the head?
Well, I could tell you this. My father became who he became because of protecting his best friend.
Yeah, that's legit.
Right or wrong? Right or wrong, his best friend was right or wrong, whatever. He still protected
your father
his
had a
best
problem
friend.
if he had two best friends that he didn't take out as quick when he should have taken them out. That's the reality of it.
Who's that?
Willie Boy should have went right away, and Show should have quack.
Well, Willie Boy wasn't my father's best friend. My uncle Angelo was his best friend,
and he did take care of him.
he didn't take care of him. Casso did.
Whatever.
It was Casso and Angel. We're talking mob talk here.
Listen, Lee, when you think when you get a bullet, does it matter who ordered it?
Yeah. It depends. Everybody has a certain level of killing. I mean, you look at a guy like Casso, you look at a guy like Tommy Patera. That's a different, or Scarpo. That's a different level of killing.
Correct. But here's the
Years
thing.
ago.
So Angel and she knows her father obviously better than anybody here. But at the end of the day, he's head of a brigada, right? Let's say 400 guys, regular guys, May guys, associates, probably thousands more associates. Every decision has an effect. You kill one guy, he's got to worry about who's going to come after him and retaliate. Is it going to affect another family? Does it affect business? When heaviest is the head that wears the crown. So like a guy like him, I'm fascinated with because it's not easy to make those decisions, Lee. And I can't imagine, imagine like Angel being a young lady. Hey, I'm going to the prom, or hey, let's go out, or hey, let's get ice cream. Imagine what's going through that guy's brain. That's nothing any of us could fathom, Lee. You know that.
Yeah,
Nothing.
but back then, back in those days, he wasn't the John Gotti that he is today. Nobody
Yeah.
knew him like that back then when I was dating.
Yeah. Can I
And
yeah, sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
Can I ask you a question? One question I always ask anybody who grew up in that life,
Uh-huh.
as he rose through the ranks, did your life change and did he change? Like all of a sudden Christmas was bigger. Like as he grew now that you know, probably back then you didn't, but as you know, like now at his graduations at different levels, did your guys' life change in the household?
Uh, what do you mean? As he got more
Financially,
money?
yeah,
Oh
like
yeah,
As he became more,
financially.
as
But
he became
you
more
see,
famous.
yeah. Well,
literally,
no. See, my father was different than these other men. My father didn't bring this crap into our house.
which is the old
He
school way,
didn't.
yeah.
He didn't bring that home. Like when he was home, there was no discussion of anything like that ever.
Yeah.
We didn't curse. We were like, everybody was very respectful. Excuse me, well mannered, and but as the years went by, yeah, I mean, one year my sister and I got very large tennis bracelets.
Nice.
Yeah. That changed, but my mother is the one who kept us grounded. Like, he didn't she wouldn't let him like spoil us to death.
Yeah.
You know, she was the one who, you have to pay your car insurance. You have to get a job. You have to pay your car insurance. And he
Yeah.
would tell me, no, you don't listen to mommy. Stay home and help her. I'll pay you. I'll pay you, and I'm paying your car insurance. So,
Yeah.
but no, she was pretty good like that. She kept us grounded like that. I didn't get a brand new car. My brother John, when he graduated high school, bought his own car, and it was a used car. People think, oh, they were spoiled brats. No, we weren't. We actually really weren't. I remember my sister when she turned, I think it was whatever she turned, when she was allowed to go out with Carmine, he bought her a car.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my father got
Carmine,
mad. My father got mad that he gave her a car because he's like, no, I'm your.
Carmine was one of the sweetest, most gentle men that
Oh, shut
New York ever
up.
knew.
Carmine was extremely generous, a very generous.
He was very loving. He would hug everybody.
Well, no, that's a lie. But he was very generous.
So Angel, also you brought up a good point that like things changed. Did he change? Like he never brought it home, but he had a lot more responsibility. You know what I mean? Like did it change?
No, I always remember him being the same. I told this story once, and this was the truth. There was something in the papers. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Now I don't remember, but I remember being a nervous wreck that day. And I used to go down the block. I lived down the block from my mother and father, so I would go down the block every day with my kids. To see him. He wanted to see my kids every single day, so I would go down there. And as he was leaving, I said, I made the terrible mistake of saying, be careful. And you don't want to know what he was so mad. What do you mean be careful? What do you mean be careful? I don't have to be careful. You be careful. What do I got to be careful for? No,
Wow.
you be kidding. He was so upset because he knew that I read what was in the paper and that I was upset and it bothered me. And now I was worried about him.
Yeah.
That's the type of man he was.
Well, this might sound a little perverse, but I'm going to give the reason why I think your father.
Don't be perverse on Angel's show.
No, like in terms of like normal reality versus the mob life, right? The thing about your father, like the mob was a very efficient organization and it carried out justice very efficiently. That's why a lot of Italians would go to the local wise guy because they couldn't go to the cops, right? But the thing with your father, like anybody who screwed him or anybody that kind of got him, other than Gravano, which is another discussion, like he kind of like he was very predictable and you could set your watch to it. If he wanted something done, whatever that was, it got done. Like, I don't think a lot of anybody in the life or even out of that life can say they lived a life where they whatever they wanted to get done got done. And that's one of the things. Like something happened, he was on it. You know what I mean? Like I always say, and again, not to be perverse, but I don't want anybody to get hurt. But you did not want to inform against your father. Sammy got a break, but in general, you did not want to inform against your father. It had a bad outcome, and he was just true to his craft, and that's why he's a legend. You know.
You want to know something? Like last week, I don't watch these people. I don't watch the Sicali. I don't watch these people. But the only one I do watch is Mikey Scars because I'm trying to catch him in a lie.
Well, that's
so far he hasn't lied.
Hold on, I'm a little fascinated by that. I'll tell you why. And I'm a big RJ fan. I like Mikey. I would say, aside for Sammy, he's probably closest to home for you, Mikey Scars, right?
Exactly. I never ever watched Gravano. Ever. Never watched one of his thing unless a clip channel had it or Lee Cole had it. Never watched him and I never will. But with Mikey Scars, I watch him and he describes my father very, very accurately. Very accurately.
I know him pretty well, no?
He knew him. He knew him better than Gravano knew him.
Yeah, because was he like kind of a mentor in a way to him, or no? Is that
I don't know. I don't know about that, but I do know that Gravano didn't know my father the way Mikey Scars knew him.
Yeah.
What does that say?
Yeah.
Because Gravano is a liar.
Hey Tom, have you ever had to pay for a interview?
Yeah, I paid for again out of the 500, I think I paid for 4 or 5 of them.
Who did you have to pay the most to, if I may ask? I'm being nosy.
I think I paid Escobar's wife the most, but I won't say how much. That's my business. But
really,
you paid her more than Gravano?
Much more, yeah.
Yeah, and by the time it got down to Mexico, it was even worse. Well, where's she in Colombia or Mexico?
And just so you know how hard it is to wire money to an Escobar.
Very hard.
Add to Arena, it's like I have 4 apps on my phone that my wife's like, "What is this app to send money overseas? What are you doing?" You know. But it's you cannot send money to an Escobar or to Arena very easily. I'll say that much.
Is she broke? Is she broke now, Tom? Is she broke?
I doubt it.
I don't think she's broke, but I don't think she has well off. Part of the story, which I get into in the interview, the cartels went to her to we're gonna kill you all. You have to sign over all your shit.
That's what I thought. At that moment,
the brothers went to her. They bombed his funeral. They were at the funeral. They bombed it. They went to her and they said, we're going to exterminate what's left of you guys. You have to sign over everything. And what did the government say? Fuck, do we care? We hated your husband anyway.
Wait, you know what? This whole time I'm getting them confused. I'm thinking of
Pablo
El Chapo's wife. So you interviewed
Pablo Escobar's wife.
Pablo Escobar. I thought you meant
no, not El Chapo. His
Escobar
just got out.
Yeah, exactly. That's who I thought you meant.
When did Escobar die? When did Escobar die? When did Escobar get killed?
I think in 93, 94. Let me Google it.
Okay. Who in the chat could tell me the year that Escobar got killed? Just wondering.
Marla could.
Yeah, where is Marla?
1993.
93.
I got his birthday too.
Wow.
5-0 now. Texas is going to be the champions. It's good to see the state of Texas do this.
But I mean, I'd love to interview El Chapo's wife. She'd be interesting. The young one. She'd be interesting.
I'd like to
I
interview
would
El
too.
Chapo. I like to
I
but
could
here's-
probably get in touch with her
Yeah,
too.
but here's the
because
thing
of-
though. But here's the
with
thing though.
Lickman.
The
Jeffrey
mom's a
Lickman.
little. You probably can. The mom's a little different. Like the cartel. Like they're no bueno. Like I can only like I'll put my neck out so far for a view. I'm not gonna.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus with that, I don't know if you want to. I don't know. I might say the wrong thing. Lee might come on, or who knows?
I'm not going to ask her about her husband's business. I just
No,
want
Lee will. He's like, well, we push back, and I'm gonna go. Blah, blah, blah.
No, I just want to know how was everything in prison? What prison did she go to?
I think she went to like a female prison that was for high profile, and over there they have a lot of connections, a lot of money, so probably bought her way to a nicer fit.
She's very
Tony-
beautiful.
Tony B wants to know, Tom, how would you pay Joey Merlino for an interview if he was that type of guy?
He probably, I would, but he probably would want a lot. See, the problem is the economics too. You never make your money back on the big interviews.
That's the question I was just going to ask
The
you.
economics.
I'm sorry.
economics.
Yes.
That economics.
So that's what I want to ask you. I'm sorry before I forget again, and then answer that. But the money that you paid out to these people, did you make it back?
So what I do is, if I have a bigger interview, like tonight, when I PayPal you the remainder of the fee.
I didn't even ask you.
Oh Jesus! No, that's going to start a whole big fire. So, if you have somebody that's a few bucks, what I do is I get a sponsor to underwrite it because we know it's going to get a lot of views. So they'll kind of cover the fee. I shout them out on a few shows, and they kind of make their money back on sales and stuff. So I usually get a sponsor.
Oh, all right.
Tom,
So,
is it true? Is it true to interview Karen Gravano? She wanted a box of Twinkies.
Oh my God!
Tom wants to tell me to go to hell.
Angel got like 10 texts. Tom, you're accused of making fun of people's family, and Lee comes on within 5 minutes and throws some.
Listen, you want to know what I wanted to tell you?
That family's pure evil. I won't give them a break.
Listen, let me tell you something. You know how I knew that Gravano and Jimmy Calandra fell out? By watching your interview with Ramona.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, and she dogged them?
She dogged Jimmy Calandra, and I said, man, they had a falling out. Gravano and Calandra had a falling out because Ramona never would have did that if they didn't.
That was very astute of you.
Oh, I knew it. I told whoever I told at that time, I said they had a falling out. I think maybe it was MRE. I don't remember. But I knew it.
So, Angel, you do watch my show.
I did watch that. I did watch Ramona. Oh, I definitely did. And I said, oh, wow, they had a falling out. I was right.
I got a funny story. So it's my birthday. I want to say 2010-ish. So we're at Angelo's, way before it burnt down in Little Italy. So it's me. You know Jen Graciano? The one who did the producer of the show?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know her, but I know who you're talking about.
She was a good friend. So Jennifer's with me, Renee's with me, Karen, Ramona, and then my brother, this big plastic surgeon friend, and a producer for the show. So Mob Wives, a guy named Marvin. So he's like a huskier guy. So I'm sitting there saying a toast. Of course, I'm a little like toasty. And there's a guy at the other table spitting image of Kenny Rogers. I'm talking like his doppelganger. So I go, hey, thanks everybody for being here. Oh my God, look. And I like to thank Kenny Rogers. The kid, his son, got so tight, he stood up and wanted to like kill me.
Are you kidding?
Of all the people who neutralize it, and I owe her to this day, Renee, of all people, she neutralized it. She got him. She went outside. She talked to him nicely. And Renee, her out of anybody was the one who neutralized that night.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I know you'd appreciate that story.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Hi, Marla.
I'm all.
Hello.
Can you drop Marla the link? 'Cause
Marla, Tom said he was a fan of yours.
I like Marla.
Oh,
does
thank
she need the
you.
link, Angel?
What happened?
Does she need the link, or can she just jump up?
Who?
I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Damn.
I'm here.
Don't get old. Don't get old.
I,
Boy, I'm looking right at the screen, Marla, and I don't see your square there. Oh my
really,
God.
really quick, Marla. It's really nice to meet you. I do watch a show. I do watch you. I'm a fan of yours. I'm ironically a fan of Angels. I just said the funniest thing though. Whenever I watch, if I literally watch 5 times and I watch 3-minute clips, for some reason I have to be brought up in a very unfashionable way. But yet I still watch the show anyway, and I'm a big fan of yours.
Thank you.
See, that's so
Do you want her
nice.
autograph?
Let me just answer Ravenite. Ravenite, you have no idea what you're talking about. I was there, not you. And he was a car blocker. He was, without a doubt, a car blocker. But go ahead.
Can I share a state? So if you really look on what people gave at certain, on that ledger, it's usually the smaller guys that want to look good overcompensate by giving more. By a lot of the serious guys, unless they were a boss, a lot of the smaller guys gave more than the bigger because they want to stand out. That's my opinion.
But listen, without a doubt, he was a car blocker. I mean, do I have to swear on my kids? Seriously, I've been saying it for how many years now? He blocked the. Listen, there were reporters everywhere. They were on in between. We were in between 160 and 161 Avenue, right? So they were all on 160th Avenue. They were all on 161st Avenue. So what we did was they had people in cars in back of our limo, which was like a Johnny A light, and at the corner they had other people in cars, and in the middle of the block they had people in cars. So as soon as the limo pulled away, the car in back of us pulled away with us, and then the car in the middle of the block let us pass and then just stopped. Do you understand? So they stopped traffic from going down to the block. Then we get down to 161st Avenue, the same thing. Cars came out of nowhere and just stopped. So these reporters could not follow us. Guess what? They don't have one picture of any of us at the church. It was successful.
But your brother was in his wedding, though, correct?
My brother Johnny didn't have a wedding. What happened is that my cousin Johnny Boy Ruggiero and my brother were his witnesses to his wedding. They went to City Hall. So he keeps saying my brother was his best man, but it was actually they were his witnesses. John, my cousin Johnny Boy, my Uncle Angelo's son, and my brother.
Got it.
There was no wedding. They didn't have a wedding. And he certainly wasn't my brother John's best friend. And here's another thing that my brother John has 6 kids. John Eli didn't baptize any of his kids. Mikey Scars did. Carmine did. My brother Peter did. Another good friend of my brother's at that time, he baptized one of my brother John's kids, not Eli.
Okay.
And he wasn't even Italian either. He's Irish. My brother's former friend who baptized my niece.
Interesting.
So they were so close. He didn't baptize any of my brother John's kids. So go ahead. And believe me, he wasn't. He'll if he tries to say, "Well, I was in prison." No, you were not. Not for all 6 kids.
Let me ask you this. I always kind of wondered this, and you got to remember, as somebody who was going to interview somebody, the government put a lot of resources to bring him in. They did the whole Interpol, the big orange jumpsuit, the G4 jet. waste a lot of fuel and brought him over. Do you blame the government for maybe making A-Light a little bit too? For a guy like me, hey, I'm having a podcast. Wow, if you Google him or you put on YouTube, he's there with the the good-looking guy with the orange jumpsuit, that kind of stuff, bringing it on the private jet. Do you think the government is maybe responsible for it as well, Angel?
Well, you do. Well, a lot of people, I don't know if everybody knows this, but when he was in that prison in Brazil, he was writing people letters threatening them. If they didn't send him money, he was gonna rat.
Oh wow.
I mean, Chris Kasparosa showed that letter. He did write people letters and tell them if they didn't send him money, he was ratting on them.
Interesting.
What do you think our government's going to do? And he had to bring something to the table, in order for them to, make him the star witness. The problem is that he lied. The entire testimony, all he did was lie. I sat there like in total shock. Like the things that were coming out of his mouth, I couldn't believe what he was saying. I said, that's not true.
So, but let me
whatever.
ask you. So then, in fairness, your brother was acquitted, I believe, 3 times, correct, or 4?
It was 4 times.
4 times. So that shows you the justice system. Thank God, somewhat.
Well, that was 4 racketeering trials. Then he had he had 5 trials in under 36, 39 months, whatever it was, 38 months. He had 5. One was a parole and something violation.
Got it.
But
No, but you get what I'm
those
saying.
4 racketeering trials, yeah, thank God.
No, but so like, if you look at like impact his cases, right? It's like justice prevailed there. He was not guilty, non-credible witness, and he got off, right? So then, like when they find some of these guys guilty, I know there's like we push back and that kind of stuff, and I respect their opinions. But then, is there a little bit you got to trust the system in some way? If like for your brother, it was in his favor, we got to trust it.
Well, here, tell me what you think of this, Tom.
Yes.
Here, let's put this up. In their prosecution of John A. Gotti, the feds used. Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh,
My daughter's home and they're gonna bark. Hold on, but you can read that. Could you read that, Marla?
Yeah. And where did she leave off at? In their prosecution of John A. Gotti, the feds used 15 assistant U.S. attorneys and more than 100 cooperating witnesses, many of whom were violent felony offenders who had committed nearly 100 murders, assaults, and robberies. After testifying, those violent criminals were released to the streets with the support of their government handlers.
well,
That was just to get my brother John.
wow. And look, I mean, and the funny thing is, half those guys, they probably got promoted too, half of them.
And the funny thing is how many crimes did they commit once a lot of those guys left? I mean, after the trials, a lot of them go on to commit murders. Or like Sammy Gavano, they start a drug ring.
Well, I asked Judge Gleason, I'm like, listen, at this point, you let a guy know who admitted 19 murders, and pretty much gave him a slap on the wrist. How did you justify doing that in good faith, right? And I don't know if it's a legal thing or whatever, but he's like, we calculated by him putting away, 80 people or whatever he did, we saved so many homicides and saved
that's the government talking crap, Tom.
I'm just telling his answer.
That's the government talking crap. Look what they're doing to Donald Trump right now. That's just the government talking crap.
Yeah. Don't get Angel demonetized, please.
No, that won't get a demonetized. You're allowed to talk about Trump as long as you don't get.
They loosen up a little bit, but I don't trust it.
No,
yeah,
so
they have. No, they have.
I'm sorry. So now you see, and now those first 3 trials, there was no murders or drugs. I believe Mikey Scars said at the trials that he couldn't put murders or drugs at Junior's feet. But now here comes A-Light, and he's got 3 murders and he's got drugs. Only thing is that nothing he said didn't add up in any way. And thank God for the jurors. Thank God for them.
Did he talk about batting people?
He told a story that we all just stood there like, what? That these this guy who slept in his bed while he was on his honeymoon, and he came back and he tortured the guy. He threw the guy in a lake, and he was shooting at him, and it was freezing out, all this stuff. And then they said, so you're saying that John Gotti told you to do this? He said, yeah, I ran. Like, it was so ridiculous. Like, he left him in the freezing water, told him, don't you dare move. He ran to Ozone Park, found my brother John, and John told him, yeah, go ahead, kill him. Like, it was ridiculous.
Let me ask you though, has it? I think he took a break and now he came back, I believe. But hasn't he loosened up? Or I don't think he brings you guys up as much, correct? Or no?
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Does he bring you guys up as much? I don't think he does, though, correct?
No, watch. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 minute. She just did that. I'm sorry. Does he bring? I have no idea. I don't watch him.
I was just wondering, because I'd like to hope he gets, he kind of respectfully used your name so far, and after a while, with all the stuff coming out, it's not as meaningful if it keeps.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah,
I really don't. I don't watch him.
Can I ask a personal question, and I'll leave it to the panel as Marla as well. For example, the co-hosts, right? Because I was one. I like Levine. He's a good kid. I like Felix. I think he's talented. Do you guys kind of hold the Felixes of the world responsible, or you're like, no, you know what? No, I just hate A-Light, and he's okay, or I'm neutral on him. Where do you guys land on co-hosts?
I honestly didn't watch him.
Okay.
Honestly, I think he's just. Honestly, I think he's he's just a young kid that is enamored by John A-Light, and he's gonna. I don't have any bad thoughts about him because he's not in this to be spiteful or mean. He's in here because he's thinking that he's interviewing somebody that he's really not interviewing, or being partners with him.
What do you think, Angel?
I don't have anything towards anybody. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about Felix. I mean, is he back with him?
Yes, they do.
He is. I don't know. Listen, he's
believing
what that kid what that guy tells him. I don't know what to say. But
I don't think he's believing it. I think
no.
I don't think that he's believing it. I think he's just letting. He's not gonna. He's his partner. He's not gonna go at him. That would be like do it in private.
Now, Bucky just asked a good question. Now, I read something. She keeps changing her tune. Her first interview, she was a rat. Now, all of a sudden, she wasn't a rat. Tom.
Well, that's why. Okay, so I was watching your show when you said that. So when I interviewed her, it was a last-minute interview, and I did prepare the best I could. Right. Again, I gotta think she's gonna answer in good faith. She said she didn't inform.
No, she lied.
I did talk to somebody after, and the way they teed it up is she may maybe inform or was going to inform, but they were doing that to lever Fogarty to flip, so he flipped on her behalf. So I don't know if it's semantics, if she's a rat or not, but what I'm saying is they levered her to get Fogarty to flip. But
Tom, if they say she may or could have, that means she did.
I'm just telling you what I heard.
That's just my opinion. Yeah. But you know what? She was a very hot rat.
Oh, here we go. My God.
I think that was a point of contention on the last season of Mom Lives.
Hold on 1 minute, Marla.
I'm still smoking hot.
Gentlemen, please.
I'm sorry. Angel gets mad when I say that, Tom.
I think that was a point of contention on the last season of Mom Lives.
Angel, I mean, I don't know if you knew him. I know he's your father's friend. But I don't know if Mark Ryder would associate with an informant, and evidently they still talk. Where do you kind of land on that? Oh, did
No,
she go?
she's muted. What did you ask her, Tom?
So she's still friendly with Mark Ryder to this day, who stood up, went away, long sentence. I'm just wondering. I don't think he would talk to somebody who
How do you
informed.
know she still talks to Mark Ryder?
She said in the podcast they talk weekly.
She said that, but what's evidence is there?
I don't.
That's just what I mean, she could say
I'm not
whatever
like
she
Barbara
wants.
Walters with a staff of 7, interns, and I can vet this all. I'm like a guy that does a podcast between screaming kids' diapers and BJ visits, not BJ.
Mark Ryder could have ratted out 100 people and be free right now, but he didn't do so. He took his time. I mean, he literally could have put a lot of people away. Mark Ryder, he's just one of those guys that was not going to rat.
That's my point. He stood up. So if he has that fabric to stand up, I would think he would not want to associate with him.
Not many people have that fabric. I'll tell you that much.
Well, you shouldn't be in the life if you don't, but they do. That's my point.
Tony Silo said, Lee, she's also visited Mark and there's a log. Hey, listen, she was probably really good at what she did, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink.
Hey, stop.
Some men will forgive women if they're that good, if you know what I mean.
2023, can you be less misogynistic, please?
Misogynistic. She was hot, boy. I'm sorry.
Marla, how do you do it?
I'm doing good. I'm thinking about that lady that you had on your show. If I remember correctly, it was like the last season of Mob Wives. That was kind of like a point of contention because the daughter was actually joined the cast and Renee didn't really want her around. And she kind of implied that it was the mother and the father. That's why she didn't want to be bothered with the daughter. I could have swore I saw it was a show back in the day. It was I Married a Mobster.
I Married a Mobster, yeah.
And she was on it. And in the show, she said something to the effect, I guess she was kind of implying that the FBI wasn't helping her or that they were going to, like they were basically leaving her out to dry. And because of that, her and her 2 kids or however many she had at the time were going to be killed. And so she stood in front of a building, I guess the FBI building with the sign. And I guess based on that, they might have done something on her behalf. But based upon that, I was always on what she said. It sounded like she snitched.
I mean, I could always ask Ramon. She probably would know.
Here's a good question, Tom. Sean says, wasn't the movie King of New York with Christopher Walken supposed to be based on Mark Ryder?
I always wondered that. I've always wondered that, and I always thought that. I was just trying to think who is the biggest kind of non-Italian kingpin. But if I remember correctly, in the King of New York, he kind of abuses the wise guys, which Mark Ryder was friendly with.
And he died at the end of King of New York. He didn't, he didn't go to prison, right?
No, I don't have that answer, but it seems reasonable.
Did he did he deal drugs? I mean, did he interact with all parts of New York and all cultures, Mark Ryder?
I believe Mark Ryder got his stuff from the Sicilians, the Caruana Contreras, and that's when the Sicilians kind of were the big importers. And then on the distro, that was multicultural because the street level, mid level was.
He used a lot of black dealers, right? Like
multicultural, yeah. Multicultural.
Yeah.
See, that's another thing that everybody. I think it was Convict Inc. who said my father's best friend was Mark Ryder. Absolutely not. Yeah. I don't know where these people get their info from. He was more closer to my uncles than my father.
Did you know Mark Ryder, Angel?
Yeah, I knew him. It broke my heart. His son
What's your
died.
opinion of him? What's your opinion of him as a person?
Another one, very quiet. That's it. Nice, quiet. But was he my father's best friend? No. I knew Mark Ryder. I love his wife. His wife is a sweetheart. His sons were amazing. His daughter's a beautiful woman. his son and my brother Frankie Boy were very close. And when Frankie Boy died, they were little kids. And so it broke my heart when Mark Ryder died.
Mark
I
Ryder.
felt horrible. Not Mark Ryder. I mean Greg. I'm sorry, Greg. His son Greg. And that broke my heart.
How did he lose his son, Angel? If you don't mind asking.
He just disappeared one day.
Yeah, I heard that. I wasn't sure
Yeah,
what was surrounding it.
disappeared. Very, very, very sad. And she's still till today. His mother has nowhere to go. She has no cemetery, no ashes.
Where did he?
No.
What year was this that he disappeared, Angel?
What year could that have been? The 80s.
Oh, so that was the year that people disappeared.
No, I'm decade. Listen, he got into something, whatever he got involved in, they never found him, never found his body. I think they did find his car, and his blood was in the car. That's it. That's all I know.
I want to read up on that. Sounds very interesting. I want to read up on that if you have any information on that.
This is public. And I think Tony Silo might be knowledgeable, or somebody watching. Didn't he allegedly want to try to get somebody killed, like Billy Bright or something like that?
Who?
Mark Ryder. There was some story that
he was I don't know.
The Aryan Brotherhood. I don't know.
I have no idea. Nothing. I don't know. I just know that Greg died, and the family has nowhere to go to, to a cemetery or nothing like that.
Why didn't they make a plot for him?
I don't know. I just know
That's sad.
Yeah, they found his car. I think he had a Corvette or something. I don't remember. I remember just something that they found his car and blood in his car. That's it.
Wise Guy TV, who's very knowledgeable on this stuff, says Ryder was working with Sal Ruggiero before the crash. They all were allegedly, whatever. That's where he ended it. But I didn't realize that. This sounds very interesting. I just find that very interesting. I think I might do a show on it. It sounds interesting.
A big chain of events. Did you know Sal, Angel? I'm sorry, she's on mute.
Not as well as my Uncle Angelo. No, I just knew him when we were younger. I knew him when we were young, and then he's another one who I never saw him again. And then what year was it? 81, 82, something like that.
Yeah.
Kids came to live with my Uncle Angelo. My Uncle Angelo adopted them. Sal and his wife Stephanie died in a plane crash. But no, I didn't know him very well. Only when I was little. But Uncle Angelo, we were very close with my Uncle Angelo.
And here's some very interesting things. These are two very knowledgeable guys. Brian G says, yes, he blamed Billy Bright for his son's death. Tony B writes, Billy Bright got murdered in prison, allegedly for being involved with killing Ryder.
Interesting.
Oh,
wow. Man, this is interesting stuff. I never heard of this whole thing with Ryder. This is very interesting stuff.
Well,
sounds like a good movie. It sounds like a good movie, actually.
I'll do it quickly, I promise. I'll educate you. Sal Ruggiero allegedly was a large importer of drugs. He got them from the Sicilians of Canada. He was on the lam. He actually died in a plane crash. And
that I remember.
Other events that kind of rewrote history after that. But yeah.
Yeah.
And my Uncle Angelo adopted his two children.
Oh, he did?
Oh, yeah. He adopted
that's right. The wife was with Sal. Died. That's right.
And I read that, and I did read that he would. Yeah, and I did read that he adopted those two children too.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And didn't one of the Ruggiero's sons die, Angel, from that?
No. Oh yeah, just recently, my cousin Johnny boy.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that was. I mean, not recently, like within a few years, but that broke my heart too. My God, he died so young.
Wow.
You want to hear something funny, Tom? Angel always says, I'm not into this mob talking stuff, but nobody does it better than her.
I'm not into it. I just know.
But see, you don't realize you know so much stuff. Nobody here knows these people like you actually knew. Like when I asked you about, Mark Ryder, yes, I knew him. How many people can say that? Am I right, Tom? How many people could say that they actually knew these people?
Well, but
Let's
that's
see how beautiful his wife is. She's still beautiful. Wow.
well,
Is she
that's
prettier than the one from Gotti?
Who?
Is she prettier
Listen
than
to
the
me.
one?
His wife is very beautiful.
no,
Very
but
dark
that's
hair.
what,
Beautiful, beautiful woman.
yeah, but that's what Angel makes her special because she knows these people personally. She doesn't brag about it. She just discusses it like treats it like normal people. And these are people that you and I read about or do shows on or do whatever. I mean, it's
And I think that's what people don't understand on here. They don't understand that. They say, "Oh, what does Angel know about the mob? That was never out in the street." But she doesn't understand that she knew a lot of these people. Nobody here knew these people. Very few people can say we knew these people.
well, and also she knows them in ways we will never know. That's more
Yeah,
important than what's on the news. That's
she knows the more normal side to them. Coming over
yeah,
and visit, like with Ryder, you don't see what he did out in the street.
yeah.
You see a side of them that a lot of people don't like. When you think about, say, Borriello, nobody thinks about the human side of him.
Wow, you actually said his
But,
name right.
yeah, but Angel knows the human side of him.
Yeah.
And that's what's fascinating, and so that's
Yeah.
why I always say to Angel, "You're wrong. You know more about the mob than you think you know. You just don't. You weren't out in the street with them, but you knew them. Who can say that? That's all I have to say about that."
And a lot of them, you won't believe it, were really, really nice people.
Yeah.
We believe it, sure.
Like really,
Except,
really
yeah.
nice people.
Angel, you were running around with Ruggiano
Oh,
for
here
how
we
long?
go again. Would you stop? I wasn't running around with anybody.
Tom, did you see Ruggiano do his interview on?
Could you
On that
imagine?
show?
He said that I had a crush on him. I never had a crush on him, and you like to bring it up every show we do because you like to
Oh, it's fun.
aggravate me.
I love it, Angel.
I
Because
know
you
you
dated
do.
this. She dated this tall, dark, and handsome guy. What was your husband's name again?
Lewis.
Or you, Lewis, and then you see Rogerio with his shirt open.
Ruggiano.
Huh?
You said Ruggiero.
Ruggiano. I always get them
Ruggiano.
names mixed up.
You couldn't
Ruggiano
compare
and
the
Ruggiero are
two.
two separate families, Lee.
What happened?
Oh, I know that. Hey, listen, I do it all the time.
Angel, let me ask you a question.
That's my shtick, okay? That's my shtick.
Angel, I kind of know the answer, but I don't. Why did Netflix, with the money and resources they have, why weren't you on there? Why wasn't Scars? Why wasn't your brother?
Well, none of us knew about it. That's number one. These are the same people who put out Fear City, which had A-Light on, talking about how he was my father's number one heroin dealer, but he had to be 13 years old when he was the heroin dealer. Like,
And he killed 5 guys in
the-
his backyard.
yeah, these
in
are
a
the
gunfight.
same people who didn't even fact check John A-Light. So they put these
could-
3 people on and they just take their word for it. When really all they really needed was Mikey Scars, but then Mikey Scars, they had a conflict of I guess money or in the beginning.
Mikey Scars wanted to know who was going to be on the show, and they wouldn't tell him.
And they
Mikey
wouldn't
Scars
tell
didn't
him.
want to be on the show with people that were frauds, and it turned out you had 3 frauds there.
Well, it also those docuseries, although the producers make a lot of money, Netflix pays a lot of money, they make the money. They don't pay that well as you think. Like they don't.
Okay,
No,
let me interrupt you too. Lisa Babbitt, I don't know if you're still here, but like I said, I spoke to a family member and I believe them over you any day. How's that?
Who the hell is
Sorry,
Lisa
go ahead.
Babbitt? Who is
Oh,
Lisa
no.
Babbitt?
At least she's
All of a sudden, I see everybody
She's
talking
one
about
who's
Lisa
in
Babbitt.
denial that a woman's teeth weren't knocked out. I spoke to the family member. Yes, they were. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. The only time I get mad is when people call somebody else a liar when they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I do.
Why don't you tell them how you really feel, Angel?
I just did, Lee Cole. Go ahead. I'm sorry that I interrupted you too.
Well, sorry, but Angel, you kind of know this too because you've been in the game in this sense. They don't pay that well, Lee. Like if you're in a
So here's how they do it. I know this because I've been on them.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's how they do it. By law, they're required to pay a certain amount of money because of the union,
Tag and
and
actor.
they got to give. The Actors Guild has a certain, like I think it's $1,200, something like that, maybe 2,100 now.
Yeah.
But you're guaranteed a certain amount if you show up. It's up to them whether they want to pay you more.
Correct.
But Netflix, it's like Mikey Scar said. Netflix is like, we're making you a star.
Yeah.
We don't need to pay you a damn thing. And Netflix is right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they only got like $3 to $5 grand.
I don't think they got that much. They weren't that important. I think they got.
think
I
Mike
think they got.
Scorsese something like 500. People offer $500.
Yeah, I think they got the bare minimum. I think they got the bare minimum, and they had no choice.
Yeah.
What are you going to say? Because those guys are starving to get on shows like that. It's Netflix.
Well, and also they know the audience is like not people that know this stuff. It's the general public, and you can get away with, like, they're just looking to produce it inexpensively as possible because they know they have the production value and they know they have Netflix. You know.
Well, we were working on a show just recently for Hulu and for my brother, and we got halfway through it, and they shut it down because of the strike.
Yeah, they had to. Yeah, because it was.
They shut it down because of the strike. They literally shut the show down because of
Are they
one
going to
thing.
redo it?
I mean, we were there like every day, talking on the internet, doing interviews and stuff. And then the lady felt so bad. She said to me, "Lee, they just call you and tell you it's shut down. There's not a damn thing you could do about it. They do it all the time."
Wait, I got a text. Is it true you asked them to cash out the $3K that you were going to get because you don't want to pay the taxes? Oh, that hurt. I had to do it. Marley, you're quiet. You usually talk more. Because I do watch your
Look
show.
at this. This is what the other content creator said. Meanwhile, it's so funny because I'm not even on
Joey
YouTube.
Frakes is an asshole. Don't even read
Believe
him.
me,
He's
I
like
know, but I'm not even on
Very-
YouTube.
it's not even worth reading him, Angel. He's
Especially
a
this past month. I haven't really even been on here because I'm too busy bringing having another grandchild and fixing up a nursery and helping my daughter and moving my daughter and moving my husband, moving his mother. So don't tell me what I do.
Joey Frakes.
Not
Joey
even
Frakes
on
should
this
be,
stupid thing anymore.
Joey Frakes should be blocked the minute he comes into a chat. He's a scumbag. That's all there is to it.
No, because he's repeating what the YouTube bully said. Tom, what do you think about
Tony Silas
YouTube
said he's been-
bullies?
Tony
What do you
Silas said
think
he's
about
been-
these
Hold on,
content
Luke.
creators
Yes,
who call women filthy names, the C word and all of that? What do you think about all of that?
Yeah, so I'm guilty of going on shows. I told you I try to get people early, try to learn, try to whatever. And in general, some people kind of, I don't want to say names, disappointed me. But I do believe that there is a certain level of misogyny on the mob genre. And what scares me is the acceptance of the audience for it. Like, just like the way some people are, and they don't get called out, like even by their own people. Hey, listen, like that's out of pocket, or hey, that's got a 1970s call. They want that misogynist comment back. But I guess there's certain people that it plays to. But I've been very consistent. I told you, I grew up with 3 sisters and a mother. Listen, you were really rough on me. You emailed me. You pissed me off at times. I never said anything negative publicly about you.
No, you never did.
And privately, if I had a challenge, I was trying to be respectful as I could. But you like remind me of one of my sisters, like very like very Italian, very like
passionate.
I respond to that. I respond that better than toxic too, than a lot of other things. So like I don't know. And then like the other part is and no knock on anybody who's not Italian, but there are a lot of people that in this genre, because they happen to be Italian Americans, they follow this stuff. And I'll just tell you, and Angel will back me up, Italian American culture does not accept that. Like we protect our women, we protect our daughters, protect our granddaughters feverishly. And not saying other cultures don't, but it's just a lot of it's not within the culture, and it just kind of it sucks when there's some people like doing that, and then either other that's the other thing, Angel. Tell me what you think of this, and this is maybe open to the
Uh-huh.
forum. There's really like no leadership in this genre. You have communities, right? And then within the communities, maybe there's 2 or 3 groups. I feel like there were certain important things that happen along the way where people could have raised their hand, jumped on, and said, "Guys, enough's enough," or like,
Exactly.
and I'm not gonna lie, there were times that I'm like, "Do I stand up?" But I'm like, I didn't feel enough in my heart to do it because nobody else was. Like, there's no leadership. I don't think you should be the leadership, Angel, because you're one of the creators. But in general, there should be like somebody raise their hand, guy. Enough's enough. It should never go offline. We should never abuse women. We should never stay away from misogynist comments. Let's stop any anti-Semitism and racism, etc. Like,
Tom, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Tom.
You give your honest opinion on here and you get torched for it. You
Yeah.
give an
Yeah.
opinion that somebody else doesn't like, and he will trash your whole entire family for it. Call you the C word, call your mother the C word, call everybody in your family all kinds of filthy names just because they didn't like your thoughts and your opinion.
yeah,
I think
Tom,
it's
I
a
like to-
disgrace.
I like to ask Tom a quick question. What do you think? I understand what you're saying, Tom, but there's some women here on here that say horrible, brutal stuff and do some brutal stuff. I mean, what do you think about that when that happens? When
I will
not
tell
a
you.
few, there's not a few women. There's a lot of women in
I
here.
will tell you this as an Italian American male that grew up with an Italian.
Wait a minute. Wait a second. What women do that?
I'm not going to start naming names right now. Come on, everybody knows what women I'm talking about. Come on, Angel. What do you say? Women? I can name 50.
Okay, listen. I'm only
Women
going to.
from here, this group here, over here
No,
with me.
from the mob genre, there's a lot of women in here that are horrible people.
Okay, all right. Go ahead,
Okay.
Tom.
There's a lot of good women, but I mean, what do you think about those women?
Lee, let me say this, and Angel, I think, and Marlo back me up. If a woman tries to strike me or hurt me, my goal is just to neutralize and then get out of there, not to hurt back, but to neutralize. Verbal is no different. If somebody's going after you verbally, you try to come in peace, you try to neutralize, but if they continue, that's on them. You can't go back at women. I'm sorry, you can't. It's somebody's mother, it's somebody's grandmother.
So if you're here online, that's ridiculous, Tom. If you're here online and the woman's abusing you, you shouldn't say nothing back to her.
I wouldn't.
Okay, that's you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't usually do it, but I'm just saying. I see some women here to do horrible things to people.
Can you can you give me, without saying names? Please don't say names. Can you give me an example so we could talk about it? That's okay. I don't mean to take up the whole show.
They'll get mad at somebody and have their show shut down. Or they'll say where they live, what they're doing, talk about their whole family. Or better yet, that woman will take people and send them to your house, Child Protective Service to your house and stuff. So, we should just it's a woman, just let them do it.
No, but
how do you have the proof that it is definitely them?
Correct. That, and also,
we know people that have done that, Angel. Come on.
No, but also, trolls are like Freddy Krueger. They thrive off of Discord. You get that, right? So when you don't respond, they get bored and they go elsewhere. So you just literally tune it out for as long as you need to.
Well, it's been 3 years. No one's going anywhere.
Oh, but sorry to bother you. Tony B brought up my mother's town. Yeah, there's no mafia there. It's a very small town. Actually, Angel, your father's side is from Napoli area, correct?
Yes.
There was an Italian on the Italy side, a pretty good podcaster, and he did a whole show on like where your father was from in Italy and stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. It was nice seeing an Italian talk about it.
Yeah. And my mother is from. Hold on, I had it in here. I always forget, so my cousin, my uncle wrote it down on a piece of paper, and I save it in here. Monte Cassino.
Oh yeah. Have you ever been there, Angel?
I went to Sicily. I was in Sicily for 2 weeks. I didn't go to, which I'm sorry I didn't. Yeah, but Sicily was nice. That was nice.
Where did you go in Sicily?
Oh my God, where didn't we go? What's it? It starts with a T.
Taormina.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful, right?
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was
What year was
beautiful.
this,
We
Angel?
went churches in the in the mountain. The church was inside the mountain.
Yeah.
Beautiful churches there.
What year was that?
Let's see. 2008,
Oh wow. Did you do
2007 or 8. My brother, what?
you do a cruise or you drove around?
No, what do you mean? Did we go on a cruise?
Like sometimes you
No,
go to the cruise in a different town.
no. We stayed there for 15 days. I was there. No, we flew there. Yeah.
Nice. But you went to different parts, though, right? You didn't just stay in Taormina. You went to a few different parts of the island.
Well, yeah, we traveled all over, but I stood
Oh, you stayed in one place.
yeah, in one place, but we traveled everywhere.
Did you go
Yeah.
to Did you go to Palermo?
Yes, we did.
How crazy of a city is that? Beautiful. Well,
It's a beautiful city. But it looks just like Manhattan,
yep,
right? It looks just
yep,
like Manhattan. I think that all these cities just all look alike.
yep. And did you go to the beach? I mean, Taormina has a beach, but you go to any of the
The
beaches?
beaches that you know where I loved Capo San.
San Vito Lo Capo.
Oh my God, that was my favorite place. I absolutely loved it. I even left the place I was staying so I could stay there
Yep.
overnight. That's how much I loved it there.
You know what they say about Sicilian beaches, San Vito Lo Capo? All the tourists go to Napoli, Capri, that kind of stuff. All the Italians, they go to Sicily and San Vito Lo Capo. People that know go
That's
there.
a beautiful beach town.
Yeah,
It is so beautiful, so quaint.
yeah,
All the little stores. I loved it there. And
yep.
there was a store there, a restaurant there, or a pizzeria that made the best rice balls I ever had in my life.
Yeah, the arancini in Sicily, second to none. You could get them on the beach. I don't know about now, but like they used to be like $2. You'd be on the beach, and they would come by and sell them to you. And these rice
Yeah,
balls,
yeah.
a cheese. You making rice balls, Angel, or no?
No, actually, I don't. I
They're
really
hard to
don't.
make. They're hard to make.
Yeah, I actually don't make. I'm not really a carb person.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, guys, I got to take off. Polly's being a real bitch right now
Why you going, Lee Cole?
because Polly wants me to.
Ugh, unbelievable.
Yeah, she keeps saying, "Well, this has been great. You have Tom and
Yeah, this really
Mark.
was. This I really
Thank
enjoyed
you, Riley.
this tonight.
This
I
is really
really
nice.
did.
Real.
Yeah.
This, really
Tom,
nice.
thank you. Thank you for being here, Tom. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I like when you, Angel, and Marla show up on my show here.
I want to ask you both
Thank
one
you.
question before you go, Lee. I want to ask
Yes.
Tom this. Wise Guy TV said, this is what I asked before. Do you think it's fair? Dominic Sicali testified that he did murders with Vinny Basciano and he gets to be home free making YouTube videos, trashing Vinny and making money doing it.
Well,
I don't think that's fair at all.
Yeah. Well,
That's a great question.
Well, here's yeah. So it's not fair in that sense. If you look at it on the surface, the problem is the government plays God, whose life is more valuable and who's not. So they'll let somebody be free and somebody to rot in jail, but it's a government that decides. Is it fair? No, but it's a government that does that. You know.
What bothers me about it, to be honest with you, Tom, it's not even about the government at that point. It's about people that get out and they bash the people they put in prison.
Thank you.
It's like, why don't you just get out and move on with your life? You got a break. But they can't do that. It's like there's something inside of them that they want to feel good. They want to feel like Sammy Gravano. He's the perfect example. They want to feel they had a good reason for doing it.
Well,
I'm
not saying it'd be better, but yes, if these guys can be like, hey, I'll give you some stories, but I'll branch out into other stuff. Yeah, one of the challenges that I'm working through is I don't want to have anybody on talk about somebody who can't. Somebody passed or it's public info. It's different, but somebody that can't defend themselves, especially when they're in jail. And I'll do agree with you. That's not fair.
I mean, you have Sammy Gravano talk about Peter Gotti's looks, call Angel's mother crazy, say horrible things about John, say horrible things about Angel, say horrible things about now one of Angel's friends, me, he said that I cried like a little bitch. But you know, think about Sammy Gavano. He attacks everybody that's ever he did not like, or their families especially. Imagine attacking John Gotti's wife or our children.
Yeah, because she said, Johnny, the kitchen guy is here. She called him the kitchen guy.
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice if these guys were on, kind of stick to their lane and not talk about other people that can't defend themselves or their family. Would be really nice. You know what? There's a certain level of responsibility with the viewers as well. I don't watch Sammy anymore. I liked it when he had episodes and gave his stories.
Me too. Me too.
And
Yeah.
they were canned, they were scripted, the pregnant pauses, the editing. Once that guy left, the show kind of went
Yeah.
sideways. And you know, and I get turned off too. So, but like as a viewer, we need the viewers to say, you know what, this isn't right. We need to put our super chat money and our thanks money and our eyeballs, which are the most important thing, the attention to elsewhere. That's why I think Angel's show is really going to kind of take off, because she's sticking to her lane, she's having fun, and I think you can go somewhere. You know,
I
Well, you
don't.
got two-
I didn't. First of all, I don't even put this on my other social media platforms yet. I don't do any of that.
wait,
And I don't sit here and X for money. I don't beg people for money because I am having fun doing this. And I started doing this because people were lying about my family.
Yeah.
I'm not a desperate content creator that needs to have money. That's not the reason why I'm doing this.
Wait, somebody knows my family from my mother's town. If you could put the first name, Angel, can I tell you a little known fact?
Go ahead.
So my grandparents on both sides, right? So let's say grandparents on father, grandparents on mother. They both had 4 children. They all married each other, not incestually. They all married each other.
Oh yeah. Like
That was
I
coming.
know somebody who did that too. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and 4 times over. So my uncle was my uncle, my aunt was my aunt, and my first cousins are almost like brothers and sisters. So when he said Kornakia for a second, I'm like, oh wow, that's my mom's side. No, that's actually my mother's and my father's side. That's my mother's maiden name. But yeah, but tell me who you know. That'd be great, Tony B.
So you sound like the Italian Whitakers.
Oh my
I
God,
don't know
no,
what
it's not like that.
It was a joke, Tom. You don't know who the
No,
Whitakers
like I
are?
know somebody, Frankie, and he and his brother married 2 sisters.
Yeah, yeah, that was 4 times over in our family, and it wasn't arranged either, which is weird. Back
They
then,
married 2 of their sisters, Angel?
No, in other words, the 2 brothers married 2
married 2
sisters.
Yeah.
Yes. And
I would never marry one of my
Tommy,
sisters.
real deal. Thank you so much, Tommy. Tommy just sent me a cash app. Thank you.
Good job, Tom.
And Kevin, hi Kevin, how are you? He said, Kevin,
Hey,
Kevin
Kevin, how are
Omet
you?
said, Tom's a good guy.
Kevin wrote a book, right? Kevin, you wrote a book, I
His
believe.
dad did. His
Yeah.
uncle did.
One of them
Yeah,
did.
his uncle did.
Got it. And I see the cigar, so nice cigar. If you let me know which kind it is, love to hear it.
Oh, Bella Anima wants to know, Tom, did Gravano ask you not to ask certain things?
No, but I submitted my questions beforehand because they were, hey Jeff, how are you, buddy? They were kind of business topics. I'm not gonna lie, you could watch an interview. Some of the stuff kind of went over his head because he kind of wanted like the canned interview, and I had to get him to think a little bit. And some of it kind of went over his head, to be honest. I thought.
Yeah,
he's
and
used to, like-
Alan wasn't there. He was walking home. Talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Tom Phillips says, Lee, I thought it happens in Texas, marrying sisters and brothers. Wrong state. In Texas, they mess with cows and sheep.
Oh, Tommy
That's
Real
Alan.
Deal said, wait, he sent me a cash app and said, just because you don't beg for money. Thank you. I'm
Lee,
sorry, Lee. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
That's okay.
no,
I'm just
Lee,
not going to invite you back to my show.
Lee, I was gonna call you because I don't know where you live exactly. I was in Austin last week.
I wouldn't live in that place for nothing.
Kind of an interesting town, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, but the liberals have taken it over. They destroyed that city. It used to be such a great city.
I mean, your state's about to turn blue any week.
No, it's never. The state will
No.
never turn blue.
Oh, I don't
Never.
think
That's a myth. That's a myth.
Oh,
The more Spanish here are voting Republican than ever.
all right. Last
Hey, let
election,
me.
They said that last election, and what happened? They won
No,
by
Hey.
how many points?
they had the highest Democratic turnout ever, though.
Did
And it didn't matter.
everybody
still
see?
couldn't win.
Did everybody see the news? I sent it to Marla and Lee. Did
Yes.
everybody see Black Lives Matters is for Trump? And I knew that was going to happen. Once
Really?
they indicted him, I knew that anybody
Well-
who's ever been
And that's an angel. That's where it's backfiring on them because black men have been persecuted, and they're all of a sudden they're saying, "Why is this man being persecuted? Why is he having new charges on him? Why is he in all these trials?" And
And the
so you have
timing.
a
Thank
black
you, wise
black
guy.
man. They're looking at it. They're looking at it different. They're like, well, that's what a lot of black men feel, and black families, culture. They've all had people in their family like that, and they're looking at him like kind of a gangster.
Well, but so hold on. No, actually, there's a little more to it. So whether you like Trump or not, that's everybody's personal opinion. I don't judge him for that.
Yeah.
But he had policies. Number one, the First Step Act disproportionately helped African Americans get out of jail, especially male that shouldn't have been there or shouldn't have been there that long. So number one, that was very good. Number two, he did urban enterprise zones. He made it so if you had, if you sold something and are sitting on a lot of cash, if you buy a building in, let's say, Plainfield, New Jersey, or certain parts of Queens, let's say, you get no, you don't pay any taxes for 10 years. So a lot of wealthy people put their money in these urban enterprise zones that were helping out, urban populations. The third was he was the most consistent and largest funder of historically black colleges. So and rather than go every year and beg for money, he funded them, I think, beyond his presidency. So, I don't know if anybody kind of says that he's racist or his policies were racist. They got to kind of look at the facts. And I'm not always a big Trump guy. I don't love him per se in every way, but he did have very good policies in that respect.
Well,
Just
he's not to me. I don't know. I never saw him as a racist.
Does your father like him, Angel?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I've heard Sammy Gravano said about Donald Trump. He said that the mob didn't mess with Donald Trump because he had a lot of people around him that could have mobsters put in prison.
I could tell a story about Donald Trump, and I will not do that. I will not do it. It's a very good story, and I will not do that.
I have one story, but it's probably not as exciting.
No, I mean as far as my father and Donald Trump.
Oh, well, that's a whole different.
Yeah, I'm not going to do. Maybe after he gets elected, I will. But as of right now, no.
Wait, Angel, what's your?
He's already in
Tommy,
enough trouble with being in pictures with A-Light.
Wait,
Tommy
Angel,
Real Deal. Wait, I gotta thank Tommy Real Deal. Thank you for the $500 cash app.
I'm sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
No, I was saying because I know Trump shared Roy Cohen with what's his name, Tony Salerno. So kind of the belief was Roy Cohen was a go-between between Trump and the mob. That was like kind of the working theory.
Well, my father had. Did you know that
Roy Cohen
loved my father? Did you know he loved my father? That's a story I'm going to tell on Patreon. What my mother told me. Roy Cohen.
He probably really
loved him. I mean, no, he really loved my father.
Yeah. I'm not touching that one.
Jesse Roth, good night. Jesse Roth is leaving, Angel. She's been here from the very beginning.
Oh, good night, Jesse. And thank you very much, Jesse. Jesse said, hit that like button.
Good night, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse.
And Roy Cohn's one of those guys that I think is probably undercovered in terms of his power. Like back in the day, if Francis said supposedly he could have paid a few $100,000 to make something go away, but he didn't trust them because if you give him the money, go away. Where's it going to go? But I think he had a lot of power back then. Roy Cohn, really,
Roy Cohn did.
Yeah,
Roy Cohn did.
Big time, big.
Tony wants to know. Excuse me, Tom. Did you do any research before you became John Panisi's co-host?
Yeah, well, I had him on 9 shows. We did a 9-part series. That was unplanned, so we did one, then another, then another. So by the 9th, we're like, should we do a show? I did research in terms of, who he was, what he did. Was there any black marks against him? Like, any red flags? Because if we're gonna hook up. I have a reputation, I think, to protect. I think I did enough research that was justified. I just wish I'd better, and I should know better as a business guy. My only thing is I wish I had a better contract. It was more in a handshake. But other than that, I think I did a decent amount of research on him.
Okay. How about would you ever interview Joy?
Absolutely. I think I invited her on in the chat a few times, and if you could, I'd love to have her on.
But wouldn't that upset your friend Karen Gravano?
But that's what I have to do. People have to respect my position as a podcast host, that I may have somebody on that may upset somebody I'm friends with. But if it's valuable to the show, which it is, because that's probably one of the most number one requested questions I didn't ask. If she's my friend, she would understand,
And I like to say something too.
Well, they block Joy. They
really?
block Joy on every social media that they have. They block Joy because Joy is very outspoken and will go after Gravano constantly.
Yeah. I mean, I would have her on. I would like for her to share her story and the story. I'm not against that. I'd actually want it, to be honest with you.
Listen, I got to go, but I like to say one thing about Tom. Tom and Jeff Nadeau asked me at the same time for an interview right after the whole thing happened with Sammy. And at that time, I didn't feel great about doing it with Jeff, even though it would have been smarter to do it with Jeff because Jeff has more people watching. But I remember him saying, "Why are you going to Tom? Nobody watches." Tom, you got like 3,000 views on that interview now, I think.
Yeah, and the audio got like 5,000.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah.
So see, they don't realize you have things going on in the background, not just that.
Well, the other thing is everybody's like so worried about my views. What I did was my main channel. I'm actually trying to get away from some of the mob stuff and do other stuff. So my channel's kind of taking. Hey, good night, Lori. My channel's taking a little bit of a hit, but I have a mobster channel for the mob fanatics. So I'm going to take a little bit of a hit, but who cares? Like, it's my business. Who cares? I don't know.
Lee,
Yeah.
itty bitty, thank you so much. But Lee, would you read that, please?
Lee, I have the flu, and it would make me feel better if you would get on the panel and say, "Keep my angel's name out of your effing mouth," like Will Smith when he slapped Chris Rock.
Well, you have to do it, Lee.
No. Oh, I got to smack Angel? I might get beat up.
Oop.
Angel, you know what? Lee, don't go anywhere yet. I had an interesting guy on my show. This guy named Chris. He's like an investigative journalist type, and he said the mob was involved with OJ's murdering of his wife, and here was a working theory. You remember Faye Resnick?
Yeah.
So evidently there was alleged coke ring going on back then, and she owed like a lot of money, and she was in like rehab or something, but she was supposed to be at Nicole Brown's house that day. So sure enough, he went there allegedly with somebody who was connected, and when they got there, she wasn't there, and then Goldman, wrong place, wrong time, and then he just kind of snapped, and they went to work on the two, and that there was like kind of an underbelly of a mob coke ring. And like I had him on. I had a tinfoil hat with me, so I had it on like during the show. But like the more it unpacks, more stuff is coming out. I don't know. There may be some truth to it. I don't know. It's crazy.
I heard something about that years ago. Something about Faye Resnick.
Yeah. And a
Yeah,
guy named,
she was bad news.
yeah, a guy named Ippolito out of he was with the Jersey mob, but out of Florida. He had some connections on the West Coast. I think he was going to coke from the cocaine cowboys. It's like a whole thing, and it, like stuff's starting to surface. I did a show on it. I think I got like 10,000 views. I had the tinfoil hat at, but I don't know. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah,
Lee,
yeah.
what do you think?
About Faye Resnick?
Yeah, about this story.
Yeah.
I don't know what you were talking about. I was busy reading.
Oh my God, Lee!
There's a belief that OJ that murder might have had an underbelly of mob behind it.
I think that murder was based on him knowing that woman drove him to it.
There's no way two people. There's no way only one person was there. I'm sorry. There's no way. No
I
I
saw
way.
the
disagree.
forensic expert. He said there is no way that there was one person there.
Correct.
O.J. Simpson could not have done that himself. He had severe arthritis. There's no way he could have done it alone.
That's
He did the murder. He was
did it.
there, Angel. He had a Bruno Maglia. There were only 2 pairs of Bruno Maglias made in the world at that time, that size, and the print of the Bruno Maglia was at the murder scene.
She's not saying if she did it or not. She's saying there's no way one person did it.
Somebody put on Bruno. Someone must have put on OJ's Bruno Maglias and went and did the murder. Then is that
Well,
how it works?
You know what happened with the glove? They stopped taking his medicine, so his knuckles swelled up. When they put the glove on, it didn't fit.
Yeah, but the Bruno Maglia's show is the absolute proof that he was there. Whether somebody else did it with him, nobody will ever know. But that man was at that murder scene.
Marla doesn't believe.
Yeah.
She don't.
Then
believe.
Marla explained. Marla, I'll make you a deal. Explain.
Yeah,
why the
explain
Bruno-
that, Marla.
Explain why
Explain
the
that
Bruno
part.
Maglia was there. There were only 2 pairs ever made of that shoe. 2 pairs. Bruno Maglias are very expensive shoes that very wealthy people can only buy, and because of the size of his foot, how did his shoe print get at the murder scene?
I'm not saying he wasn't there previously. I don't know how I don't know. They did a lot of
the
things.
blood,
They did a lot of things concerning that blood. It didn't go to the lab like it was supposed to. So
okay, I understand that part. What do you think? They took the Bruno Maglia and brought it there and put it in the blood and
they could have they could have listen. I don't see one man killing 2 people with one knife. One man did not kill 2 people with one knife. What did the other one do? Wait in line?
Listen, I'm not saying that. That man was at that murder. That man was at that murder.
Do you ever watch the old like crime scenes? They're walking through the crime scene like it was like CSI Nightmare. The way
it was horrible. It was horrible. I actually think it was what's her name that did it? The Jenner mother.
Oh, she did.
Jesus.
What did he just say? What did he just say?
What's her name?
He thinks what's her name? The Kardashian mom did it.
Well,
yeah,
you know, Lee called me up to do a show on. He says that O.J. Simpson is Khloe Kardashian's father.
I don't believe it at all.
I've heard that.
I don't believe that at all.
He looks nothing.
Khloe Kardashian. Tell me that woman hasn't literally chopped her body up to look like a different woman. I would
she
too.
looks
if I
beautiful.
Yeah, she used to look like Bigfoot.
Here we go. Did you all hear A-Light say he was the Albanian who was going to take out Gravano? I heard all about it. Where are you, Mikey Scars? Come on. You know that's not true, Mikey Scars.
A weird guy. You said that it's impossible for that one guy to kill 4 students. It is not. All you got to do is look at Richard Speck. Richard Speck killed 8 nurses on his own. And he put them in a room. If people are sleeping, you can go in a room and kill them.
Why don't you do some true crime? I thought the Idaho murder is Idaho murders. I thought you did a fantastic job on that.
Yeah, but you know what? I did it one time. I didn't want to get really too involved. Everybody was doing it. People did good jobs on it, but the fact of the matter is, yes, one person probably could have done it. That's what the problem is. Usually, the most simplest answer is the answer,
There's
and
the
people
one
try to
that's
make it
there.
more difficult.
Yeah.
Like Richard Speck would be found innocent now because of the fact that he killed 8 nurses. You know who Richard Speck was, right?
No, who's that?
Richard Speck was the guy in Chicago that killed the nurses,
Oh, okay, yeah,
and one of them rolled underneath the bed and hid, and she lived. But he raped and killed all the nurses over a night's period, and they wound up catching him. They put him in prison. They gave him hormones. He walked around prison like a woman. It was really disgusting.
Oh, I heard about that.
Read about Richard Speck. Richard Speck.
Did you see?
Unique gas pipe? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Did you see?
Go ahead.
Francis was going to interviewed Son of Sam.
Why
Yeah,
is he
did he?
out? He's out.
No, because I guess Sam Berkowitz is now like heavily Christian. So through one of his pastor friends, Francis is going to interview Berkowitz in jail. He ain't getting out.
I was gonna say they're
I'll
gonna
have to
let
interview
him
the guy
out.
shot Reagan.
What's that, Angel? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say they're gonna let him out.
No, he's going to go to the jail to do it. They're going to let him in.
Are you kidding me? He's a convicted felon. How could he get into jail?
Because
Prison.
probably through some ministry or something.
Or to a ministry, yeah. That's
Oh.
He got hooked up.
that would actually be a good interview. That would
Yeah,
be
he
a
got
good
hooked up
interview.
with one of his minister friends.
Are you kidding me? So if you're a minister, even if you're a convicted felon, you can get into prison? They don't even let fathers visit sons who in prison who are convicted felons.
Oh, I didn't know that. You really? That sucks.
Yeah.
Hey.
If you're a convicted felon, what?
Maz's people are here.
Hey Maz, how are you?
Yes, people are here. They're wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, look at this. Hi, Lori Love. This show was a long time coming, showing that we can have an open dialogue that doesn't get nasty. I'm part of the 5% that knows, and I back Angel 100%. And hit that like, you lurkers. Love to all. Lori Love, we miss you.
I'm telling you, she kind of, got me thinking a little differently, which I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
So I'll give her credit for that.
Wow. See, and this is true. See, you can have a conversation, open dialogue, a debate, whatever, without cursing, yelling, and screaming at each other. You can do that.
Tony B said something very interesting. Yes, you're right, Tony B. My family lived 2 blocks from where Berkowitz lived. We lived on Lake Avenue.
Really?
Yeah, in Yonkers. Yeah, he lived in Yonkers. And did you know, most people don't, when they caught him, he had a machine gun in his car. And he told them that they caught him. He said he was going to go out in a blaze of glory. So they didn't know what he meant by that, but he was going to probably go to a disco or something and shoot it up. And, when you think about it. But I remember, Angel, you remember back then, we lived in New York when that was going on. I took the subway every day. I had to dye my hair, Angel.
You're too funny. No, we weren't allowed in anybody's cars.
Wow.
We're not allowed
I bet you were pissed about that, Angel.
Cars.
I bet you were pissed about that,
where
Angel.
we had to go to, but we weren't allowed to get into anybody's cars.
Wow. Supposedly, you watch that movie, but supposedly the FBI and the NYPD was so perplexed, they actually went to the wise guys for help, because they knew,
They did, yeah.
They could be a little the research, for finding it out. And obviously, they were out there too. They obviously couldn't find. Trust me, if they would have found them.
Everybody was out. I remember I used to walk. At that time, my father lived in Mount Vernon, and my mother lived in Yonkers. So I would go over to Mount Vernon a lot, and I would go walk to the subway station at 242nd Street. Huh?
Ramerton Avenue, great place.
Yeah, exactly. So I lived we lived above a bar called the Ivy Covered Cottage Bar, and really nice place actually. But I would walk to work and that was when Son of Sam was around. And I'll tell you what, you would not. It was like you would not see women in the morning like you usually see. Women would wait an hour later for rush hour to start.
Wow.
Instead of taking the subway at 6, they were taking it at 7, and they were coming home earlier because women were scared daylights back then.
Wow.
One, to have that fear put into the city like that
Yep.
Is incredible.
Did you guys see that main shooting last week, that once again the authorities let somebody slip right through their fingers? Once again, they had warnings about this guy, and they didn't keep up with it, and look what happened.
They said
I'm sure the FBI.
Sorry,
Why is the FBI going to want to stop him anyway?
What happened?
The FBI wouldn't want to stop him if they know.
Yeah, why?
Because
They
they want to
said
take our guns away, Angel. The more shootings we have, the better it is. The more reasons they have.
I think horrible.
They said he was
He
here.
was on their watch list.
I
Wow.
think he killed like 16 people, right?
Yeah.
And then he turned the gun on himself, I believe, right?
Yeah, he killed.
Yeah, and
himself.
it's funny when that happened that night. You know what I told Angel? When his car door was open and he was gone, I said to Angel, he went somewhere to kill himself. Didn't I say that, Angel?
You did. Yes, you did. He said it. He
Yep.
said they're going to find him dead. You did.
Wow.
Because he wrote the suicide note to his son. He had his mind made up exactly how he was going to go out. It's a shame, but that's how he went out. And did you know when he went to the bowling alley, the one good thing, when he went to the bowling alley, there were kids there, but he would not aim the gun at the kids. He was shooting all the adults. That's the only good thing about it, because there were several kids that night at the bowling alley.
Wow.
What a shame.
Unbelievable.
Well, that's what I thought of when I thought of a bowling alley. And crap, the kids.
Yeah, there were a lot of kids there, and they said that it was just a miracle that no kids were killed. They were talking about one guy slid down the lane through the bowling pins and went up into the pin area and hit.
Shit. Just think about that. Jesus Christ. Wow.
What happened? I didn't hear you. What happened? What did you say?
Yeah, that's
Lee?
Henry Rocco. Yes, Henry Rocco. The youngest guy was a 14-year-old, but there were kids there too. It's horrible the 14-year-old was killed, Henry Rocco. You're absolutely right. But they're lucky that a lot more kids weren't killed.
Wow.
And it was a father and son.
Hi, Argo.
Angel, listen, it was an honor and privilege.
This was really great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
This to me was really great. Thank you. We still have 233 people here.
Wow.
Well, you had a hell. Yeah, Tom, you're pretty famous.
Oh no, we're on 3 hours.
Wow. Well, I believe most of these people were here because I was in the chat.
Yes, it's all for you, Lee, and I appreciate
always
that.
you, Lee.
I wouldn't be anything without you, Lee.
Well, I hope, and Angel, again, a sincere thank you to you, Marla, Lee, for setting it up, for the chat. I think people were fair in their comments. It wasn't as bad as it was going to be. And I think 2 things can come from this. Number one is maybe we could have debates and discussions without people yelling and screaming.
Without me calling you a piece of shit.
Right? Without calling those names. And then number 2, maybe we as a community turn a corner a little bit. Like a guy like me, you may not agree with everything I do, but maybe I could do a better job. And then on the same token, you might say, hey, Tom, I don't like what you do here, but I'm willing to talk to you about, politics and Lee's great goatee or something, So.
But you know what, Tom? You live close to Angel. You can go visit.
I'd love to, Angel. I'd love to.
You can see, and then you can see she's a cat lady.
You have cats?
Yeah, I have dogs in the house, but outside I take care of the feral cats outside.
She doesn't take care of them; she captures them and throws them in cages.
Do you do the catch and release with the spading, or it's too hard to catch them?
She catches them and keeps them in a cage forever. She has one in the backyard, Tom. I'm not joking.
It's huge. Yeah, it's a huge catio.
Let the
Oh,
poor
you got a
bastard
catio?
go.
I have a huge catio, yeah, with 5 heated beds in there. He gets to choose which bed he wants to sleep in at what time, what
I love it.
month of the year. Right now, I plugged in his little heater, so he's got his heated bed. And then if it's too hot for him, he'll go in the other ones that has just the insulation. Yeah,
You're
I
lucky
take
Tony
care
Pizza.
of
You're
him.
lucky Tony Pizza doesn't show up at your house. He's sleeping in there with the cat.
Listen, it's really nice in there. They have heated. He has a heated food bowls, heated water bowl
wow.
when the winter comes.
We have 3 of them like to go. Well, 2 of them like to go out. One once in a while, one does not. And then we lost it for 2 days. Almost had a heart attack. And
Oh my
but
God.
they're all 4 rescues, so they keep us busy, believe it or not.
Yeah,
I
and
had a
then I
lady
see
move.
the ones out front. The ones out front. There's I don't know 3, and then they just had kittens.
Oh
And
wow!
now she's fixed. Yeah, now she's fixed though.
Isn't
I
it
just had a
true?
lady.
Oh, sorry.
I just had a lady move next door, and she just moved into the apartment. And she knocks on my door this morning, and she's standing there when I open the door, and she goes, "Hi, are you Lee?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well, I hear that you're one of the guys around here. If I have any issues, I talk to you." And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, I just want you to meet my 2 dogs." And she's standing there with one dog in this hand, and one dog in this. And she says to me, can you bring Polly out to play with them? I said, Polly ain't coming out here to play. Polly's coming out. Polly's coming out here to fight. Because we have a couple Chihuahua, we have a couple small dogs. We have a couple small dogs around here that got bite marks from Polly on them.
Isn't it true, Angel? If they're feral cats on the outside, you're not supposed to give them milk. I was told that. Is that true?
I don't think milk is good for any cats.
It's not, right?
Because I was going to give them milk, and
Yeah.
I even spent like a ton of money on this product that was supposed to be good for cats. It was something just like milk, and then when I looked it up, it said absolutely not to give. Cats can't really digest it properly. Yes, it hurts their stomach. So yeah, no, I don't give mine milk. I would love to give mine milk, but I would hurt him.
You know what? Yeah, we don't give. Well, there's only one cat we give very little milk to because he meows for it, and it's funny. He's like, they have different personalities. He doesn't like anybody. He doesn't give affection, but when he wants a little milk, he'll meow. His name is Zeus. So, we'll give him a little bit of milk. You know what I signed up for, Angel? You might like Chewy. You sign up.
Oh yeah, Chewy. Yeah.
Love it.
I get Chewy, but you know what's even better is
Okay.
Amazon comes the same day.
I know some
When
things
it
are
comes
like,
to pet products,
Yeah, if you live in New York,
it
if you live in New York, it does. Try to live out here in Texas, out in the middle of the Panhandle. It doesn't come the same day.
Well, I ordered my cat supplies this morning, and I don't know, about 11ish, and
Same
sure
day?
enough, it was here by 5 o'clock.
holy
That's
shit.
amazing.
You know, I saw some kind of crazy. So I saw a Amazon truck. I live in a cul-de-sac, so imagine like 5 houses on a U. So he's turning right, like kind of a main street, and his side's open. And I'm trying to get his attention. Hey, buddy, your side's open. I don't want boxes to fall out, or maybe there's another rider, whatever, another rider. No, it's open. He stops at every house. I was blown away.
Really?
Bro, your side's open. It's open on purpose. And I saw him 7 houses in a row. Every house.
My block too. Well, they come
Crazy.
here, next door, across the street, next door to them. Forget it. But I love Amazon because they'll come the same day.
You know, when Jeff Bezos, actually with the Princeton in New Jersey, he wanted to start Amazon, and he went to his like boss. He was making good money. He's a smart guy, probably great money at the time. And he told his boss, and his boss tried to talk him out of it.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
I think he got 50,000 from 20 people for the first $1 million for like 20% or something like that. Like 50,000 would be worth like 50 million or some crazy.
Could you imagine? I mean, do you remember when Amazon first started?
Yep. Books.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know why he picked books, right? He picked books because he's like, let's just say he's sells groceries even. There's probably only 17 to 20 different groceries you can get. They're big and it's hard to send right over the internet. Books, you know, you don't got to refrigerate them. They're small. And how many books are there? Millions of books. So all he did was sell books just to get everybody's email address, just to get everybody's address, just to get them on Amazon. And then he switched over to electronics because they were more expensive, better margins, but they were also compact. That's all he did. Books
Oh,
and
right,
then
right.
electronics. Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
now, is he the richest man in the world?
I think he's going. Him and Elon Musk go back and forth. I believe.
Oh, wow. I forgot about
Let's do
Elon
it, yeah.
Musk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what though? Like, you know, this is how crazy it is. His wife, ex-wife Mackenzie. Imagine like you get divorced. You're going to give up $35 billion and just not caring. Like that's what.
Exactly.
That's why he's not the richest, by the way, because of that.
Oh, really? Because of his what? Oh, wow.
He gave her 35 billion, and he like I would feel bad if I were her. Like you could have 35 billion or be with me. Like,
Well, why? He was cheating on her.
yeah, so I don't. So he's with Lauren Sanchez, and like she just went. She's in the scene. She's in the like. She just went to Kardashian's 43rd birthday. She's so her husband is a big shot with a movie studio, and there's Amazon Studios. So like the husband worked for Jeff Bezos essentially on some projects. They started meeting. They started hanging out. And then she owned a helicopter company, or not owned, but like ran a helicopter company. So all of a sudden, Amazon started using helicopters, and one thing led to another. But she's an opportunist, man, and
Without a doubt.
she's
He
got the food,
traded in filet mignon for a hamburger. That's what he did.
yeah, and the wife's like natural, like a
Yeah,
yoga person,
exactly.
kind of granola, which is a good person. And he had to go, and now he's like in shape, and he's I think he's on hormones, and
Well, that's what happens when older guys cheat on their wives with younger. That's what happens.
we should do a show on that.
Oh,
But yeah,
I think we were going to do a relationship show at some point in
yeah.
time.
but you know where it's crazy? He that kind of they call it the last mile where you deliver the same day. He like figured it out. He's gonna have like his own UPS. Like he essentially has his own UPS because I own a UPS store and like we get these drop offs from Amazon.
Yeah.
He's gonna have it so like they're gonna have their own fleet, their own truck. Like, they're gonna have their own UPS. They're gonna cut out UPS completely, and he's gonna dominate the world. I mean, there's nothing stopping him. You know.
Well, he kind of, well, I was going to say Amazon, the only bad thing they got on my nerves because I ordered 2 garbage cans.
Yeah.
And they want, so the 2 garbage cans came out to, I think it was $50, right?
Yeah.
$56.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, good. Wow, that's cheap. So I put it in, all of a sudden it said $100 and something. Like, what? Wait, I only ordered 2. When I looked, they were charging me $56 to ship them to me.
Oh, because they weren't Prime.
Yeah, but you know what? I got it from Home Depot for $50 and they deliver it for free.
Home delivery now. Home Depot now, delivers for free.
They deliver. They pay a guy that comes and drops it off at your house. So that's what I did. Home Depot.
Yeah, he doesn't have the bigger stuff figured out because it takes too much space, right? So it's not about just the one garbage can, but imagine if everybody ordered garbage cans, it replaces like other stuff that should be shipped. So I think Home Depot is going to control that market. Walmart actually has a good delivery program too. Target does.
No, I had a big fight with Walmart, and if they don't give me my money back by tomorrow, I'm going to start a riot. Sunday they were supposed to deliver my groceries, right?
Yeah.
What did it come out to? $151. Okay.
Yeah.
So they said between 7 and 8 they were coming. Then 8 o'clock came. They said they were going to come between 9 and 10.
Oh,
then
wow.
10 o'clock came and they said they were going to deliver by 12 o'clock. 11 o'clock, they tell me they'll be there in 2 hours. Or 12
Oh,
o'clock, they
wow.
said they'll be there in 2 hours. Now I wanted to go to sleep. I wasn't going to, it was raining out, number
Yeah.
one. Number two, I have raccoons over here. And so I would have went to sleep at 2 o'clock. I mean, before 2 o'clock, I would have fell asleep naturally.
Yeah.
And my packages would have all been wet. And then my raccoons probably would have eaten the food. So I canceled it. And they still haven't given me back my $151 yet.
I would go to your credit card company on that one.
Well, I called the bank and told them. So they did put a stop on it, but they still haven't given it back to me yet.
I don't my beef with Walmart and groceries. I feel like they're not good in the produce front. You know, like you need milk, these staples, milk, eggs, like carrots, fine. But if you want like nuance, like a avocado or certain stuff, at least by me, the grocery game for Walmart's not great. You know,
No, I was getting like paper towels
like the staple stuff.
and little desserts for my daughter, like little
like easy stuff. Yeah.
cakes and crap like that I was getting for her. That's what I mean. And garbage bags and I couldn't believe it. Like they were jerking me around the whole entire day, and now they're still playing games with me. They haven't given me back my money.
Where do you do your bulk of your shopping? Do you do it online or do you go to like BJ's? Like where do you normally go?
Like a supermarket, either
Yeah.
King Cullen or ShopRite or I really like ShopRite the best. King
I like
Cullen is good too.
Yeah.
Do you guys
But
have
like-
Aldi's?
Do we have who?
Aldi's?
Aldi's good.
Yeah, Aldi's is not
neither.
close to me though. I'd have
Oh.
to travel for Aldi's. But I am gonna go there because you know what else I like? Trader Joe's.
Yeah, Trader Joe's is good. Good wine.
And
You get cheap.
Today I ordered from Whole Foods. I like Whole
Foods
Foods.
is good. It's so damn expensive.
Yeah, they are expensive, but you get like
Real food. Yeah, like
you
Yeah.
know, like you know it's it's gonna be fresh. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I didn't get a lot of things from them, but I got, some things. But I like fresh also is good.
Oh well, yeah. I heard about that.
Fresh, and their prices are decent. They're decent.
Well, I was using what's a big service that you order from like at ShopRite, but it's that one app.
Yeah, but that's too expensive,
Well, the
Tom.
scam. So what happened was
It is a scam.
So for me, right? I know like okay, I'm gonna order $100
Instacart or Uber
Yes.
Eats. Yeah.
Instacart. So here's same thing with Uber Eats. If I'm gonna buy $100 in groceries, you're hitting me with an $8 fee, and you're hitting me. I'm gonna give a tip. So your driver gets paid, you get your fee, and they're taking a fee from the supermarket, right? Let's be honest, right? What I
They
don't like
put
is
$1 extra on something.
on every product. So
Exactly.
now it's like 150.
Yeah.
And like I'm like, you know what? Like I'm not cheap, and I'll pay for service, but I'm not paying $100. I'll drive down the street. I'm not that rich. I can drive down the street and get them myself. You know?
Yeah, I can't order from them. I have to go myself. But
Well, you guys can always order and pick it up.
That's what I do with Target.
Yeah,
Target,
I was
I'll
wondering,
order
just
my
pick
stuff
it up.
from Target and go and pick it
Oh
up.
my god! I wish my wife went to Target and just bought what she was supposed to buy. I would have a Ferrari, but she goes in and does.
No, see, that's why I order it online and I go pick it up because I cannot go inside because I will never come out, number
Exactly.
one,
You know,
and I will be poor.
You know, I bought Target stock and it's like kind of tanked a little bit, believe it or not.
Oh, it did?
Well, after the whole, they had some stuff that was very left leaning, so it was a little different than a Bud Light thing. So I'm like, this is like they keep such little inventory because they're smart. So I'm like, they just got rid of it, and then they just got and they dealt with it better than than Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch did. So I'm like, oh great, it's getting beat up because of that, and I thought it rebounded, and it never did. It's like not doing
Wow,
good.
you got to be
Sorry, I
kidding.
stopped shopping there too. Sorry.
Oh, come on.
I mean,
Let me tell you something. I got the baby's dresser, another dresser that goes with the set. And I found it, first of all, I got it $50 cheaper from Target. and they didn't charge for delivery. So this dresser was much cheaper than Amazon,
Yeah.
and
You can bring it. Yeah.
they delivered it for no charge.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, the
I
only
like that.
thing is it took like a 9 days for it to come, but who cares?
Yeah, especially if they live with your house. They put it together. Or you had somebody put it together.
No, I have somebody who puts it together. They don't put it together.
Yeah, they charge you a lot when they do.
Yeah, they charge. I don't know, but this guy only charges me $20 an hour, and
Oh, that's
he's well worth it.
You know who I liked on your sister's show, and I don't know if he's around anymore. The older,
Luigi, he's around.
he's a what do they call a card? Or he's kind of funny guy, right?
Yeah, he's still around. In
Everybody
fact,
loves
Adam
Luigi.
sees Luigi. Yeah, Adam sees Luigi all the time.
That's funny. That's too funny. Oh, I used to love that show.
So did John Travolta, believe it or not.
Did
I couldn't believe John and Kelly used to watch that show all the time.
That's funny.
That is funny.
Were you ever on it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a few times.
Yes. She
A
learned
few
how to
times.
fight on there.
Yeah, I did defensive. I forgot, what is it called?
The defense course, and then you did the blind date.
Yeah, I did.
Did you ever consider a reality show or no?
Listen, I had somebody. We were doing it.
Yeah.
It was my friend, who's also my father's friend's wife. So my friend and her daughter. This I guess I could say it now. Frankie Smith's ex-girlfriend or ex-wife, and her daughter, and 3 other women with their daughters. And this was supposed to be like, mothers and daughters, and everybody had somebody who was related or married to somebody, in that line of business. Okay. And so we went to the meeting. I'm sitting around, and they're interviewing all the kids now, the daughters.
Yeah.
And when they got to my door, like nobody liked their mother. My friend, I mean, she's one of my closest friends. You met her, number 3, Marla.
Yes.
Her daughter liked her, but everybody else, their daughter didn't like them. And so they got to my daughter and they said, do you let your mother follow you on Facebook? And my daughter said, my mother has my password on Facebook.
Yeah.
My mother has my password. I don't have any secrets from my mother. And as they were going around the table, I said, you know what? I don't think this is good for us, Vic. This isn't for us. I said to the guy, he was so nice too. I really liked him a lot. And I said to him, listen, I don't think this is going to be good for me. He's like, why? I go, because listen, I'm the most boring one here. Like, I really am. I have the most and you know what he told me? Yeah, you'll be like the Carolyn of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. I said, she's the most boring one. No, I don't want to be her.
Well, can I tell you?
And so no, we didn't end up going through with it. I backed out. Yeah, I backed out.
Wow.
Because you know what? It reminded me it was going to be another. It was going to be on the same spectrum as Mob Slobs, and I didn't want to do that. It wasn't going to be like that. Yeah.
There was a lot of drama near the end of that. I haven't talked to Jen in years, and I was actually friendly with them when Hector flipped. It was very awkward. So I think we were out and they found out. But I got along with Jen. Renee's Renee. She's you get. Do you ever get along with Renee?
I don't know any of them. The only one that I would speak to is Drita. Drita and Big Angie's sister Janine. I liked her, but I don't know any of them.
First time I met Big Ann, she was smoking a Capri. You remember the Capris?
Oh yeah.
I love Capri.
Listen, I never met her. I don't know her.
Yeah, she was.
I didn't know her. None of them. I never even met Karen. Never met Karen.
Really
Never.
interesting. Well, she was. Yeah, your father went to her Sweet 16, but like you said, yeah, I don't think your father ever went out to Staten
No.
Island. Ever. Yeah.
I'll tell you this, and she knew this too, because when her and I had words, she knew. She opened up a florist, and my
Yes.
father made everybody only buy their flowers from
Yep.
her.
Yep. So I can't say too much, but so she had her.
I'm the one who reminded her of that because she
Yeah.
forgot it.
Well, so she had her florist, and of course, overnight, an instant success, partially due, or mostly due to your father. And
Yeah.
she had all the funeral homes, all the weddings, all the whatever. So when I think either he flipped and she had to close it, or either flipped and she had to close it, or for some reason like something wasn't right. Eventually, he flipped and she had to close it. And a buddy of mine had a very big flower shop on 3rd Avenue and 92nd in Bay Ridge. So
Yeah.
all the business went over to him, and he wound up selling to somebody in LA. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Yeah. But that was the truth. No one was allowed to buy flowers from anyone but her.
Yep, and she wasn't like a florist. Like what? Like so? Like my buddy was. They were legitimate, but
Yeah.
they were people, and he was like a florist. Like he would do like if somebody passed, would be like a design.
Yeah.
She wasn't a florist, so I don't know how she serviced. Yeah, and I respectfully, Italian weddings are extra. The bowling ball or
Exactly.
all the stuff that people get. And I don't know how she serviced it, but yeah, overnight she. But that's the other thing too. Like I was wondering, that she maybe think she's going to hold on to it, but if he leaves and flips, you're going to lose that. But yeah, I do remember that all the business was
Yeah.
away. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Interesting stuff. Yeah, because I knew the flower shop that kind of picked up on it, and Andrea kind of like brushed on it, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, I wanted to crawl under the table, but anyway. So you think she was a rat, right?
What
Andrea?
she said it. She said she was a rat.
I could have swore she did
She
allude
did
to that.
say it. She said
Yeah.
it. And she all of a sudden she did another interview and then she took that away. Oh no, I didn't rat. Yes, you did. You said you did.
I'll look it up. I mean, I literally, so I'm so over a lot of this mom stuff. Like
Exactly.
Yeah, I really couldn't give two craps about it, truthfully.
If you look at my channel, I've done like 5 shows all year. Like I'm so behind. I'm like not. I'm like I lost my mojo. Like I'm trying to realize certain things. That's why I want to come on and chat with you. And when Get Gotti came out, respectfully, I'm like, what else? And that's my point. Like you have his daughter available any night with a live that will put your question up if it's reasonable. You don't need to go to Netflix and spend $40 million on a documentary.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Tony, send it to me, please. You have my number. If you could text it to me, even better. Thank you, Tony. So I didn't watch it. So then, like when she agreed to come on, it was like 24-hour notice. I had to watch it through, and it was very one-sided towards the feds.
Of course it was.
Yeah, I don't know.
But listen, they could all have their fun now because, like I said, my brother has a project in the works where you're going to hear my father himself talking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you'll hear my father.
That's pretty cool.
So they'll be asking him questions, and my father will be answering in his own voice, his own words.
You ever see that Kardashian thing that Kanye got for Kim? It was like the father and a hologram, and like talked and interacted. It's crazy.
Wasn't that unbelievable? I don't watch them, but I did see that. That was scary.
Yeah, I'd have a heart attack. I'd probably.
Yeah. Sometimes people send me that thing where, the picture moves. Like somebody sent it to me about my brother Frankie, and he was talking, and it flipped me out. I think they thought they were doing something nice, but it made me sick.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Where he's singing or talking or something, and his mouth is moving, his eyes are moving.
Was it
I
his
don't think
voice?
that's funny or cute or anything.
Was it his voice?
No.
Okay, because they can, like, let's say like Joe Rogan or even yourself, you have a show. If you can get a long enough sample, they'll do your voice with like 99% accuracy nowadays.
Oh God.
Yeah, they can create an angel avatar, and it'll say your voice. It'll make shit up. It'll answer questions. It's
Really?
Yeah. They created a video with, because Drake and The Weeknd don't like each other, and they made a song by artificial Drake and artificial Weeknd, and it was released like by the time YouTube got to it, it got like 400 million views, and they had to take it down because it wasn't a real song. It was like, it didn't exist.
Yeah. Lisa Babbitt, how do you explain her showing up at court and wanting to go on the stand and talk about it? And she has records. What do you explain about that? Or she's lying too? I can't stand these people, seriously. Seriously, I really can't. So a woman is going to lie. I spoke to the damn family member. I can't believe he did it in front of his little child, too. Did you know that? He
I
did
didn't
it
know
in
that.
front of his daughter.
I try to
You
reach out.
don't even know this guy, and
Yeah.
right away, oh, it didn't happen.
I try to reach out like to her directly
Give me a
through
break. I know the name. Do you know who the woman is? Because I
Yeah.
do. I
Yeah.
spoke to the family.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right. On that note, Angel, honor,
Yeah. Thank
privilege,
you,
Marla,
Tom. Thank you
and
very
Thank you for
much
coming
for
on.
everything.
let's do it again because this was fun.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I
How many
really
people in the chat?
appreciate this.
How many people in the chat?
Right now, we still have 193.
God bless. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so
Have a
much.
good night. Thank
Good
you
night,
for coming
Tom,
on.
and thank you.
Thank you. It was an honor. Ciao, ciao.
All right, thanks. Well. What'd you think of that, Marla?
I thought it was nice. I was quiet once again, but I was quiet
Yeah.
because I was listening. I've never listened to him before, and I think he tries to be objective, and I think he took what you said to heart, and I think he'll try to do better moving forward. I think he didn't see things the way, maybe he didn't see your perspective until you guys talked about it, but I thought it was pretty good.
So did I. I just want to know if Lisa Babbitt is still here. Did you speak
Yeah,
to
she answered
anyone?
you. She
Did you
answered you.
speak to anyone in the family? I do know. I reached out to her lawyer 2 times, but did you speak to her? Did you speak to anybody in the family? Either family, his family or her family? Did you speak to anyone? Because I did. And so she shows up at court ready to get on the stand, and you say what? What do you say to that? She was going to what? Fake it? Like, I don't understand. So whatever. I hate when people are selective of which women to believe and which women not to believe. I freaking hate it.
Hold on. There she.
I did it through her lawyer. I asked, okay, but did you? So you did not speak to her. You didn't speak to her. You didn't speak to anybody in the family. Okay. I'm not going to argue with people over this. I just hate when we pick and choose which women to believe and which is convenient to believe and which isn't convenient to believe. That's all. But whatever. It's over and done with. And someday maybe somebody will knock his teeth out. Right?
Yeah.
Karma's a bitch.
Yes, it is. And it has no expiration date. So
Exactly. And with that, it is time to go now, Marla. We've been on 3.5 hours. I really, really, really enjoyed this. And I
This was really
appreciate
good.
every single person that came here. I'm sorry we didn't get to get on the comments. There were so many comments, though.
All right,
But
you have
thank
one more
you.
question. Do you want to answer it or no?
Sure.
What?
Why
Two.
is it the only time she showed up at court at trial that wasn't even related to her issue? Why didn't she show up to court to come on her own? She showed up to court to testify. Did she not? Also, I did it the professional way through her lawyer. But didn't she show up and was ready to testify, and the prosecutors didn't want her on the stand, and the judge agreed? Isn't that what happened? You wrote that in your book. I read your book, or your, I don't know what that was. I thought it was a book, but it was for a trial not related. But did she show up? Did she show up with her papers in her hand? And have you seen the paperwork that's sealed? I'm just curious. Did you uh see the sealed paperwork? Yeah, right. It was a story, I know. I'm sorry. It was a story, and it became a book. I really enjoyed it, by the way. But did you see the sealed paperwork? See, I spoke to a family member, so I know how would I see sealed paperwork exactly. You couldn't have seen it unless you were like somebody here on YouTube and you sent somebody to the house to steal it, the courthouse to steal it. But you wouldn't be able to see that. You're not as fortunate as some of the content creators on here.
Ooh, Angel.
I'm not kidding. But anyway, I spoke to someone who told me that it was done in front of his daughter, and she was a child, and her teeth were knocked out. Not all of her teeth, some of her teeth did get knocked out. That's what I was told. I didn't need anybody on YouTube to tell me that. I spoke to a family member. But listen, we all have our own beliefs. You could believe what you want. I believe what I want. I don't know why. Why? Why did you change that, Lisa? What do you mean? I retracted 6 words out of a gazillion word story. I'm just curious why. Oh, Maz sent his people here. Angela's wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Weedy Gonzalez. Thank you. Ooh, Colonel Crank. Hi, Colonel Crank. Angel is wonderful, wonderful. How do you say that? Sonoki?
Sounds good to me.
Let's see. 2 joints. Angel is wonderful, wonderful. We love you. We love you, 2 joints. Thank you.
Okay, there's some pushback in the chat.
Look, Richie says Marla for Prez.
Pass. Pass.
Hi, Sober Call. Angel is wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Maz. You are the greatest. Yeah, I think that would be something the Son of Sam interview. Then again, who wants to hear from him? Oh, look who's here. James Gandolfini. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Angel Michael Francis also gets to travel outside the country. Oh, all right. Because he's a minister?
I'm not sure under what grounds he'd be able, but I know he's involved in a ministry. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess so. Let's see who else is here from Maz's community. Here, Aunt Ann the knitter. Angel is the best. We love you. Wonderful, wonderful. We love you, Aunt Ann. Thank you. Wow. Berkowitz killed 2 people from down the block. Wow, that's something. All right. How long are we on, Marla?
3 hours and 39 minutes.
Yeah, it's time to go. Everybody, thank you all so much. We still have 189 people. Thank you.
Thanks,
It was great,
everyone.
Marla. Thank
Yeah.
you. I love you, Marla.
Good show. You did good tonight, girlie. Love you.
Love you. Good night,
night,
everybody. Thank you.